Hey everyone, this is Anthony with Not Cool in High School podcast. We're back. We took a week off. We a lot of stuff going on, and with the world and everything. So we just took a week off, recess, and come back this week. We have some not so much a new format, but we're gonna try some new things out here. Not so much dive into news and stuff, but more or less, a lot of people said they like hearing what we think about, what we're watching, what we're into. We will cover news topics like the big ones, but not just. A lot of the show was just news topics for a while there. But we're going to start off with our brand new topic. But before we get into that, just to let you guys know that if you want to go support our merch page, we do have it in the links below. You can go buy a t-shirt, hoodie. There's a whole bunch of stuff there, but it all helps. There also is a donation tab if you want to throw a tip or two. That's up to you as well. But on the phone, we have Ben here with me, hey. Bree and Andy, mm-hmm. And on the phone is Matt Turner. Yes. Okay. We're Matt Turner on Not Cool in High School podcast, and he's gonna do a weekly thing. Probably not hanging out the whole night because it is late, and I don't want to keep him the whole time. But he's gonna do a quick a rundown each week of some comic books that are out right now, or maybe give some readers some suggestions if they want to pick up a book. And then we're gonna start the show off with some comic book talk. So what's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Thanks again for having me.
Anytime. Welcome. Well, this is like your debut of this show. You've been a regular on Tornado Tag, but now we're gonna start making you a regular here on Not Cool, and we're gonna completely just take over everything you guys were doing on Calling It in the Power Ring, and just put it on two different shows.
It's his first appearance.
Me and Andy feel like we're Rick Rude and Sean Waltman because now we're in DX and the NWO.
Yeah. So Ben said this is your first appearance. This is your debut episode. Yeah.
This is the debut. Yeah. Well, I appreciate the time and the few minutes, and I appreciate it, but I know I haven't really picked up any new comics just because there really hasn't been any that shipped. Now, I know Marvel shipped for the first time last week, but my shop still isn't open, and they're not shipping out any books, not unless you have a whole ton.
Okay.
Now, it's so funny because I literally talk to Andy Hedder like every day, but Hedder, did you wind up picking up any books over the last 2 weeks?
I went down. There was a few I got. I got Exorcisters that came back, so I read that, issue 6.
Now, which one's that?
Bennett?
Which one's
No, that's the one with
that's insects.
Yeah. You're thinking that one. Yeah, it's not that one at all. It's the one with the two sisters where they're like they're exorcists and exorcisters get it, and they help people get redeemed.
I got the first 2 issues on that. Who was the team on
it?
It was
Giselle Lagasse, the girl with the real curly hair. She's always next to the Archie artist, Dan Parent.
That's right.
Yeah, and so she does the art, and I forget the guy's name that writes it. Dan. Oh no, I forget.
Parent?
No, it's not. It's actually not him. It's a nerd guy. I have to look it up real quick, but it's real good. It was funny. I got that, and then I read a couple books.
Like a horror.
Wonder Woman
book?
Came out. Yeah, it's horror comedy, but it's probably right down the middle. I mean, it's nothing too gruesome, but it's more comedy, so it's pretty funny. And what else did I get? The Vampirilla came out. Not too much really. I got like 5 books, and now Marvel next week is all trades. So I know there's a big She-Hulk trade coming out, but.
They're every other week. From what my comic guy told me, is Marvel's going to ship every other week. They're going to do trades, graphic novels, stuff like that 1 week, and then books the next week until I think maybe the end of the summer. So I just talked to my comic shop. I was going to give him a shout out, The Encounter in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
The Counter?
They are opening
Encounter.
The Encounter.
Okay.
The
Encounter.
Yeah, get it like a D&D, like this Encounter.
Well, real quick, for someone... I'm going to do my Michael Scott. Talk to me like I'm 5 years old. What is the difference between a book, a graphic novel, and a trade?
Graphic novel and a trade is almost the same thing. It's basically the first either 5, 6, 7, or 8 issues collected. It's like the story arc. When a writer is going into writing a story arc, they always want to make the first 5, 6, 7, sometimes 8 issues that first story arc so they can sell it into the trade. There are some writers that we call them quote unquote right for the trade. Like Brian Michael Bendis is right for the trade. Jonathan Hickman is definitely right. Jonathan Hickman might be right for the omnibus.
Yeah.
You can't really pick up a Jonathan Hickman book and read the first issue and just be like, yeah, I'm done with it. I mean, Hickman had this legendary run on the Fantastic Four. He had this unbelievable run on Avengers, New Avengers, which actually they kind of adapted into the last 2 Avengers movies. And now he's doing this run on the X-Men. And if you were to read the first issue of his X-Men run, you'd be like, well, I don't get the hype. I'm like, you have to read the whole thing because it'll knock your socks off. So that's basically, some people write for the single issue, some people write for the trade, and some people write for the omnibus. It all depends on, what you like and if you know what you're getting with that writer. But I always thought Stan Lee said it best, where every comic is somebody's first comic book. So you have to have something in there that's going to keep the reader attention to either your character, either the artist, or just you as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the omnibus is like a big one, so that's like 20 or more issues in one.
And then there's volumes or
Yeah, volumes are just like, so Walking Dead, like volume 1 would be 1 through 8, and then volume 2.
I have
would
the
be
Walking.
9.
I have, what are they called?
That would be the compendium.
Compendium is like like that's another word for
that's
omnibus.
that might be like 30 or 40 issues.
Yeah. And then volumes are just how they go.
I think I'm more that, where it's like 30, 40 issues of one big book. I think that's more my speed.
You get the whole story and some then.
Yeah. You do miss out on comic art unless some of the, I know Walking Dead, if you buy it in volumes, each new comic, they'll, like, when you turn the pages, like, there's a cover art where, if you buy the, how do you say it again?
Compendium.
Yeah, it just like literally it just bleeds straight through one to, so you don't know where one issue ends and the next one starts.
But usually at the end they put all the different covers then.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of books that do. Other variants and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so so what were you reading before everything went crazy?
Everything. Not everything, but a lot.
I pulled my pull list down quite a bit, but the main ones were Jason Aaron just finished his legendary run on Thor, and I read pretty much the entire Stan Lee Jack Kirby run on Thor. I read the entire Walt Simonson run on Thor, J. Michael Straczynski run on Thor, Kieran Gillen run on Thor. So I know quite a bit, and I got to say Jason Aaron's run on Thor is probably the best, and I want to say it's probably a 7 or 8 year run.
Wow!
So I think I started getting it right when I moved up here when I got married. So yeah, it's been almost 8 years. So yeah, he just finished that, and then Donnie Cates, who's like, he's like the
phone went off.
You're good.
So Donnie Cates was he just took over Thor, and he's got big shoes to fill, but at the same time he's like the hot young writer. So he's a guy that can have a 4 or 5 year run on it. And what they're doing with his is they're finding out that Thor is now the new Herald of Galactus.
Yeah, they can make it cosmic. And then Jason Aaron's run was the main thing with Jane Foster becoming Thor. Well, first it was there's this female Thor, and that was like 2 years.
like when Thor became unworthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he actually had a miniseries called The Unworthy Thor that was like 4 or 5 issues. So yeah, that is real good. If you
the Mighty Thor.
Yeah, if you read one Thor book, just look for Jason Aaron Thor. There's some trades out.
So you're saying this writer who's been doing it for the past couple of years is better than Jack Kirby, Stan Lee's run for, like, you enjoy it more?
Yeah, I mean, Jack and Stan are hands down the greatest comic team of all time. Just the what they created with the Fantastic Four, with the Avengers, Iron Man, Hulk, yada yada yada. But as far as runs goes, this Jason Aaron run is great. And I always say, now granted, you always support your local comic shop. However, I think everybody should read every single issue Jason Aaron's Thor run, which can get mighty expensive. So I say, if you have an iPad, just get Marvel Unlimited. It's $9.99 a month, or I think I pay $100 for the year, and you literally can read the whole entire thing at your leisure. So, I mean, if you were to get either every single issue in floppy or trade of Jason Aaron's Thor run, you're probably looking probably over $200.
Yeah, if you want the single issues, it's going to cost you an awful lot. The trades are going to be an omnibus will be $125.
I'm a digital reader. I don't have room. I don't have room for more things in the house. You know what I mean? Besides collecting old video games and systems and pop vinyls, like, I just don't have space to have long boxes everywhere. You know what I mean? So I'm more of a digital reader. I like to read, like, on my own leisure with I know how Stan Lee said just holding a book is like, what do you say? Like, it's like a pair of boobs. You just want to touch them.
No,
or something like that. He said
he's like, reading a comic is like, it's like a good set of boobs. He's like, they're great on, what do you say? Wait, they're great.
They're great to look at. But
yeah, I'd rather have them in my hands.
Yeah, I'd rather have them in my hands. That's what it was. Good old Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with Comic Book Man, and he was on there a couple times. I found all the old. I didn't know it was 13 seasons.
Wow, neither did I.
Yeah, and it's all on Amazon Prime. I've been obsessed.
Yeah, Stan's the man, no doubt about that. But speaking of Jason Aaron, my favorite book going on right now is his run on Avengers.
Yeah, that's like issue 40 now or something like that.
Yeah, I think they were doing like 2 a month.
That came out too.
They were cranking them out.
I didn't read that. I had an issue that came out last week, I believe.
So those two are probably my top 2 books. I'm loving Flash. I actually got header on Flash maybe about 6-7 months ago.
How deep is in that one?
Well, that's like issue like 70 or 80 or something. Josh Williamson writing it. You can pick it up.
You can probably jump on. Yeah, you can probably start on the zero year, which is probably maybe about 6-7 issues ago.
Yeah, that was real good.
Now, with DC, with this Flash run, is this after Rebirth? Is this like the Rebirth on?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, well after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So and then it's Barry Allen Flash, but now I heard Josh Williamson's leaving Flash. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. I forget who. I don't think they announced who's taking over, but and then they say what he's doing. I'm like, well, what's he gonna do? Are they gonna give him a Justice League? So I don't know.
They got to revive that book.
Yeah, that book.
I dropped off Justice League
too.
a year ago, and I think you were like 18 months ago. Yeah, which should be your flagship book.
Yeah,
the Justice League hasn't been good. Wonder Woman's been kind of hit or miss.
The new art's real good, and Steve Orlando's writing it now.
Okay, that's good. Spider-Man with Nick Spencer's been really good. I'm trying to think what else. Captain America's been kind of hit or miss. Iron Man's been Dan Slott's been really good. Oh, Dan Slott's Fantastic Four has been really, really good.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Fantastic Four, and that's like issue 25 or so.
If you're a Star Wars fan, definitely they just renumbered the new Star Wars series where it takes place right after Empire Strikes Back with Charles Soule writing it. That's fantastic. I think it's on issue 3 or 4.
Charles Soule's really good too. I'm waiting for the Ray single comic book to do her backstory. Because now that the movie's done, like that'd be a great comic.
Yeah,
filling Ray's backstory.
I think right before, I think the last comic book series I was reading was Batman. I think right after. I don't know if it was New 52 or if it was after New 52 and it was Rebirth. No, I think it was New 52. And then Rebirth.
So Scott Snyder was writing it.
Yeah, and I think I ended right at like the flower guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Bloom.
Yeah,
Mr. Bloom. That's where I ended, and I kind of stopped reading. Not that I didn't enjoy it, I just stopped reading it there. But I thought that New 52 run was unbelievable. Like the Court of Owls, the Death of the Family.
That one was actually one I really was interested in, and as well as the Deathstroke series too. That was a wild series.
And then I read Rebirth, and I thought Rebirth was cool because it kind of was like changing everything again. And I was like, I'm gonna start from Rebirth, and I just never did.
Yeah, it's some things changed and some were exactly the same. Batman didn't really change much at all.
Isn't with Rebirth? Didn't they kind of mix the DC universe in with like the Watchmen universe and all that stuff?
And then it took a while to get the Doomsday Clock, and then that took forever to come out. Like 12 issues that were going to take every.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. They were supposed to come out every other month, so it would have took 2 years anyway. It took 3 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
I actually fell off, but I heard it's really good. I want to buy like a collected edition because I was getting like issue 3 or 4, and then like a month will go by, 2 months will go by, 3 months will go by. I'm like, I forget what's even going on.
Isn't there something going on where like that kind of blends all the Earths together too? So there was 3 Supermans, and then there was
that's like Infinite Crisis, and then Crisis on Infinite Earths and all that stuff.
I'm saying even with Rebirth. After Rebirth, there was the Superman who was living here now. Then there was a Superman who was the one that Doomsday killed that came back. There was like 2 different Supermans.
There was 2 for a while. Then the Superman book kind of
merged again.
Yeah, kind of straightened that out. Yeah, and the one like turned into dust, and then Lois Lane breathed him in, and she got powers. And that was the New 52 one, and because the old one came back, it's a little confusing.
Yeah,
but if you read Brian Michael Bendis' Superman run, he kind of straightens that out.
Yeah,
and Action Comics run. And the Man of Steel like miniseries that was before, we both read that. That's really good.
Yeah. Interesting. So when you go pick up your books, you said you're most excited for the ones you said so far. Was there anything else that you wanted to let out there and let people know to maybe grab?
I would. I just reread it because the whole entire thing is on Marvel Unlimited, and it was so good that I actually bought the kind of omnibus for it. Was the Jonathan Hickman House of X, Powers of X. And
Yeah.
that's what's brilliant about Hickman. Like when Hickman was doing his Fantastic Four run, he did like 20 issues of Fantastic Four. Then he killed Johnny Storm, and then he introduced the Future Foundation. So once every 2 weeks, you'd have a Jonathan Hickman Future Foundation book, and then next 2 weeks, you'd have a Fantastic Four book with Spider-Man taking over the Johnny Storm role. So you would buy 2 Hickman books a month on that series, but he would hook you first. So like you didn't mind spending the extra $4 because it was so good. And then he does Avengers, where he does like 20 issues of Avengers, and then he does New Avengers and does the same thing. But again, you don't mind him doing it. And then that's what he basically did with the X-Men. He did 6 issues of House of X, 6 issues of Powers of X, and they blended it all into an omnibus. And I reread those just this past week, and it blew my mind away just how good it was. And then now he's just on the regular X-Men book. So I think there's a new X-Men book coming out, I think next week.
Yeah, I think Tyler was talking about the Powers and House of X.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. But if you
Yeah.
know your X-Men, then you're like, oh, okay. I got knows all the X-Men live together on an island called Krakoa that's also a mutant, and the good guys and bad guys are working together.
Okay.
There you go.
and
That's
then
a quick summary.
There was another one that he was talking about, Tyler. We have a little. I forgot about that whole group chat. Tyler created like a comic book.
Oh,
one.
yeah, I forgot about that, too.
Yeah,
Comics and
I'll have to add you into it. If you're interested in another group chat, but it's all comic book talk. But it's
Absolute Carnage. He was...
Absolute Carnage, and then the Daredevil one he was really high on.
Yeah, I think the current...
Yeah.
Chip Zdarsky. That run.
Yep, that's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's...
I always said,
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
buddy.
I was going to say, he's
No,
taking... Somebody else is taking over soon or something? I forget.
I don't know.
I looked and I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump on there because the Charles Soule, I really love him, but like I don't know, the run wasn't getting me.
Is Jim Lee still doing art?
Occasionally,
So he's not doing
'Cause
like
he's
a
like
full run.
he's like the boss of DC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like this.
I've always
he's not
been
the
a fan of
CEO,
his
but
art.
he's like the president.
Yeah. I've always been a fan.
single-handedly saving the comic industry. If you guys watch him on YouTube or any of his social media streams, what he's doing is one or two times a day he does a live sketch, and then he puts it up on eBay, and then all he does is take the shipping costs, and he takes the money he makes for these sketches, which I think they average like $8,000 a piece.
Yeah,
And he basically just spreads it all to all the comic shops across the country to kind of keep them open during the pandemic.
yeah. It's
I
pretty
love
cool.
Jim
And he
Lee.
was taking requests too. He was like, well, who should I draw? And so I was like, oh, draw Nightwing. He's like, okay, and then he would do it, and then auction it off.
On Comic
Yeah.
Book Man, they asked him who's his favorite character to draw. What do you think his favorite character is?
Jim Lee,
Yeah.
Batman.
Didn't he say Robin?
He said Robin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said he goes, Batman's awesome to draw. He goes, but I love the counterbalance of drawing Robin with Batman.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
you get All-Star Batman Robin. He drew that whole book.
Yeah.
And Frank Miller wrote it, although it just kind of ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to what we're talking about with Daredevil, I have to say, if you were to take everybody, like all the runs of comic book characters, I think Daredevil's had the greatest creative teams, obviously created by Jim Lee.
Yeah,
And then you had Frank
consistently.
Miller's run. Miller's run was legendary. You had Bendis's run, which went right into Brubaker's run, which you never see, like a long run, usually ends, and then a whole new story starts, but you literally can read Bendis's run right into Brubaker's run. I think that might be like 8 trades. Like I think they're 4 apiece. Then you had the Mark Waid run. You had the Ann Nocenti run, Charles Soule run. His current run. Is there anything else
Zdarsky.
that I'm missing?
Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Chip Zdarsky. Kevin Smith had a fantastic run.
wow.
And Mark Waid.
He did
Mark
the Guardian
Waid.
Devil.
Yeah, remember the whole Mark
Yeah, I said
Waid?
Mark
Yeah.
Waid.
Oh, okay.
Well, didn't
Mark Waid's great.
Frank Miller make him? He put him in like a yellow suit, right? It was like a yellow and red
That's his,
suit.
that's his original suit.
Yeah, that's his
because it was
original
made from
suit.
his dad's boxing robe.
Yeah.
And then they switched it to the red suit. Yeah, but Frank Miller wrote from basically all the '80s. A lot of I forget Daredevil season 1 and 3. I don't know. Well, how many seasons of Daredevil is there? 3?
3.
Two.
A
Oh, yeah,
lot of
three,
it
three.
pulls from that, and then Bendis's
Yeah.
Daredevil
And then wasn't Frank Miller the one who kind of put the blind trainer in there?
stick. Yeah,
Yeah, that was like kind of
Stick. Yeah, he created Stick.
his thing.
He basically when Frank Miller got to Marvel, basically Daredevil was just about like it was like 2 or 3 issues away from being dead, like just being,
Yeah,
and he's like,
can't
let me
find
see if I can revive. Let me see if I can revive that because they put him on as the artist, and he's like, and he was on the artist for maybe 6 or 7 issues, and he's like, can I do both? I'm like, yeah, sure. And that's when it was like an absolute home run.
yeah. And they got
And then they put
David Mazzucchelli. How do you say his last name?
Mazzucchelli.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's Italian.
So what's the one where he finds out that Karen has a drug problem?
Born Again.
Yeah, Born Again. That's a good series to read. You
Nice.
get that trade.
That is outside of Infinity Gauntlet. That is probably my favorite Marvel story.
Wow.
Well, is there any other comic things you want to bring up?
No, not really, guys. Just thanks for having me on. If you have the Marvel,
do you want to hang out for one news story? It's kind of comic related.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about too much, but the Snyder Cut is happening. I guess the fans have spoken. We're getting our Snyder Cut. I know one of the things that we talked about privately, Andy, is you're like, well, when's enough? When do fans stay? When do you stop appeasing to the fans?
If you give them this, we want the David Ayer Suicide Cut. Okay, give them that. Now we want Aquaman and we want Amber Heard edited out because she beat up Johnny Depp. So we want that done.
So I agree with you. I definitely think there's got to be a line drawn. I think the only difference with these two things that people are fighting for is how much we were told was done,
and they're kind of done already.
And the circumstances of how Snyder was cut out, and then how they only used a fourth of that movie, and that movie was supposed to spawn this entire universe, and the actors that were involved were like, we're not coming back. Like, the movie that was out is not the universe we wanted to be in. It's not what we signed up to be a part of, so we're done. And then everyone's like, well, wait a second. If they didn't like it, what's going on? So there was like a lot of questions to it, you know?
Yeah, it was weird in the whole thing, like the Superman, Henry Cavill, and he had the mustache because he left and they filmed more.
Yep.
Like, what did he come back to film what we got? And it's weird. It's a mess, Justice League.
Yeah, it was a steaming pile. I didn't finish it. I fell asleep and I refused to go back and rewatch it. Because it wasn't the movie because I don't normally follow movies. That one I was obsessed with. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for this. Like, this is going to be so good. And then all the teasing that Zach did with, like, you should see, the way do you see this universe we're building? And then I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And then it was like,
Unite the 7 except 2.
Yeah. And it was like, Unite the 7. And then we never got the 7 because who
knows?
They got rid of them. And then the 7 never showed up. So, I mean, there is some spoilers out there of some stuff that was talked about that kind of hinted to enough to people wanted to see it. We're going to talk about it. So if you don't want to know, maybe skip over. But I know they talked about Darkseid is going to be in the movie. They already already announced the guy who played him. Martian Manhunter is going to make an appearance in the movie, and then you're going to see the beginning. Because I don't know if you remember when DC released their 2 or 3 year plan of all their movies, there was a Green Lantern Corps movie.
At the end, it was 2022 or something like that.
So they were actually going to be in Justice League.
Yeah.
They were going to make the appearance. So you were gonna see the beginning of Justice League, and then the rest of the characters kind of unite together. So and I guess there was I guess they said the Flash was supposed to be a completely different character from what we got in the in the secondary cut, and Black Suit Superman was going to be in it. Like, there was so much, and people were just like, they said the fight scenes and stuff were epic, and it's just nothing that we got.
You never know, though. I mean, people might be talking it up. Like, maybe it's great, maybe it's the same, maybe it's just more of the same. And so it all depends on when it comes out, what people say. If it's great, then we'll get other stuff. If it's bland like the movie was, and people are like,
yeah. So I'm definitely excited. What are your thoughts on the Snyder Cut? Is it something you were into for a while there, or is it something you were just like, meh?
Oh, I'm definitely in. I enjoyed the Justice League movie. I thought it was pretty good. I saw it when it came out, and then I got it on DVD, and then I had it for about 6 months, and my wife's like, oh, I want to watch it. She's a big Wonder Woman fan, and I thought she was by far the best part of the Justice League movie, and I thought the Wonder Woman movie is by far the best of the new DCU movies. And then she watched it. I fell asleep. Again, I already saw it in the theaters, and then it's been on TNT like almost in constant rotation. So I'll put it on and see it in bits and pieces, and I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit better than I thought. But yeah, anything comic book related you put in front of me, you'll definitely get my money. I mean, for crying out loud, I did pay money to see the Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie on opening night. So
that's the bad one, the real bad one.
Yeah, there's a lot of
the most recent one.
Yeah.
That movie was literally shot in 3 scenes. It was
really.
It was literally in that space lab.
Yeah.
And it was 3 hallways in a room. That's all. It was literally the only scene change. And then when they were on that space planet, that's all. There's no outside. There's no outside scene shots. Nothing.
Netflix had it for a hot minute. I was like, I'm gonna watch it. And then when I went to watch it, it was gone already. I was like,
the only thing about that.
Oh,
go. Sorry, go ahead.
The first 30 or 40 minutes of the movie is actually not half bad because it goes into Ben and Reed's backstory when they were kids in high school and college.
Yeah, I didn't mind that. I kind of liked that they made Doctor Doom really, really a badass. Like he didn't look very cool, but he was a badass. Like where he just he's
didn't look
like
cool at all.
He's like exploding people's heads inside their suits and stuff. So like he was really vicious and gruesome. But that, I mean, it was not easy. I mean, if I had to take that movie over Galactus being a cloud, I don't know. It's a toss up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was pretty bad
Now,
too.
Rise of Silver Surfer is not a bad movie. I thought the Silver Surfer stuff was really cool. It's just,
Yeah.
you had to take Galactus and you made him a cloud. But other than that, I thought I should just watch. I've been on a big Fantastic Four kick, so I went back and watched that movie. And I'm like, you know what? This is nowhere near as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
The first one ain't bad
It's just,
either.
Yeah.
you just dropped the ball with Galactus.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember being in the theaters. I'm
yeah.
like, oh my god, Galactus! Oh my god,
Yeah.
Galactus! Oh my god,
The
Galactus!
cloud.
And then they're like, here's Galactus, and I was like,
That's like when Hulk fought the Cloud in that first Hulk movie. That was awful.
I literally went in the theater. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was like,
Yeah.
are you serious?
I was let that. Yeah, Silver Surfer's cool. He's like into Miss Fantastic, and it's like, oh. Yeah.
well, that's the rumor of the new phase main bad guy is going to be Galactus. So
Why wouldn't it
That'll
be?
make a
Or
lot of
Apocalypse.
sense.
I
Yeah.
mean, but that's more X-Men centric. So
I'm cool with it.
Galactus, Dormammu,
I like Galactus.
actual humanoid Dormammu.
and Helios, the little bug guy.
Yeah.
Now, would you be if they do
Shimagoroth,
Galactus?
too.
Would you want him in like shrunk down form, like walking around Earth, or do you want
Nope.
him in?
No, you have to make him big.
Like
you
Godzilla.
got to make him big.
Let's get a little of both, I say.
Yeah.
I
mean-
agree. I think you do a little bit of both. I think you do the Jack Kirby giant one,
And then you have
do
him
like
shrink
the John
down.
Byrne. You do like the John Byrne one, where like he basically is kind of shrink down. I think you can do both.
Well, he does get to the point where he's like, where he can literally put Earth in his hand too. Like when
Yeah,
he's
it's
like,
like, you can't like.
He's huge, yeah.
I would have him just like Godzilla size.
Yeah.
But, like he's as tall as a building. 'Cause that way it's a
Do
little
the
more.
CGI like
practical.
you did with Thanos.
Yeah, but bigger.
With Josh
He's-
Brolin's
yeah,
face
he's
and
just
all. That's how I
bigger,
would
yeah.
do Galactus.
have
Make
Galactus
him like taller, like extremely
like
taller.
Rick and Morty, the screaming sun. Just Galactus. I hate this planet. Yeah. So, and then I guess they're saying that the director of Suicide Squad he's getting his cut. I guess because he was like, man, it's not the movie I wanted either. They changed all my stuff.
Yeah, David Ayers.
Yeah,
Ayers?
and then
yeah.
the director who just did this Harley Quinn movie said a lot of the stuff that he kept in his movie was stuff that will coincide with the director's cut because he liked that version better anyway.
Oh
It's weird,
god.
but nobody's seen it, so
Like the whole Harley Joker breaking up thing, he like they kind of had to do a quick cartoon version of why they did that, and he's like the reason there's more to that story that you would have found out if the actual cut was released.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because at the end of the movie, he busts her out of jail, and they escape together, and happy ever after. And now they're breaking up in this movie, and you're like, well, what happened?
Yeah.
He's like, that's
that's
because
a movie right there.
because that's not the movie you're supposed to get. Like, that's a completely different thing. So I'm like, that's interesting. But yeah, I do agree with you with Wonder Woman, I think, being one of the best DC, but I really like Shazam. Shazam was good.
I have to watch.
It's like part of the universe, but it's not. But it is.
Yeah.
It's
It
like-
was a fun movie.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining.
I liked Shazam. I thought it was very good.
I didn't see
I
Aquaman
thought
yet.
Aquaman was fun. I thought
I
Aquaman
love
was fun too.
Aquaman.
Yeah, I didn't
Aquaman's
see it.
good. A little long, so a little long-winded. Like a match. Like if they would have trimmed off some minutes, it would have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was okay with the length, but I love Jason Momoa. So.
Did they make him a badass, or was he comedy the whole movie?
No, he wasn't.
I thought he was
There was some
good.
comedy, but he was like Thor.
It was a nice mix. I
Water-
I felt.
Like Thor Ragnarok.
Water Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Water
Thor when he's in the Avengers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Water Thor.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, that was the only thing I really had comic book. Oh, and Henry Cavill. All right. So here
Yes.
we go. Yeah. So this is
Do
where
you know
people.
Bree's brother looks like Henry Cavill?
They're like twins.
Yeah.
Really?
They are exactly.
He's
like
not like
twins.
as jacked up, but
No,
like facially, it looks just like him.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They could be twins. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. I'll show you a picture.
Cool. So this is where people are starting to think, oh boy, maybe we'll get the universe back. This is like the beacon of hope, you would say, is Henry Cavill signed on for a multi-movie deal. It's not just one movie, it's a few of them. They didn't say exactly how many. I think it might have been like 3 or 4, I don't remember, but he signed on for a multiple movie deal, and I guess they're trying to get pretty much the people who said they're done
They're
with
trying to get back on again.
the Ben Affleck, they're trying to get Ben Affleck.
Damn it! You always put the K and the
Affleck?
T.
Affleck, I don't know.
The T on there.
Affleck.
We're getting-
Who's
God.
Pritchard?
And what else I say?
Just call him Batfleck.
Bobby Heaton. I always
Yeah,
say
Heaton.
it. Yeah.
Affleck.
Yeah. So yeah, Ben. They're trying to get Ben back. Not our Ben. They're trying to get back the guy who played Cyborg because he said he's not coming back unless it changes. It goes back to the way it was.
That's not a big. He's just nobody. Like, you know,
Follow
like,
him on Instagram.
They said that.
that Flash was a
Follow them
nobody
all.
too.
They
so.
said that, but they said
Barry
the Cyborg cut of what's in Justice League was awesome.
I don't.
Yeah, they said there's a lot more
Cyborg's one of the
Cyborg.
characters I just don't care.
Could you imagine him buying like 100 pounds of coffee and waiting every day by the phone to get a phone call
For that guy or for Flash?
Yeah,
Both of them probably.
Yeah, both of them would be like,
I always said TV
We're-
Barry
we're
Allen.
going-
Was
we're
it
in.
Barry Allen?
Yeah, I'd
So-
rather the TV.
I just don't think
Yeah.
TV Barry Allen fits with the characters
Oh,
they
he
have.
can.
Just
He's
put him
not,
in.
He's not big enough.
Well,
He's
Flash don't have
okay.
to be jacked.
No, he's really like
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
average. I think.
Yeah.
Like
His head looks weird in his helmet.
he's
too.
slim.
It
He's
does look, yeah.
fine. Don't be telling
He looks
I
like
love him.
he looks like a Funko Pop.
Grant Gustin's
Yeah.
amazing. Grant
Yeah, I
Gustin
agree.
and Stephen Amell. That's who needs to be on the screen. Sorry, I'm sorry.
They're based. Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell are basically the Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans of the CW DC universe. Like,
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
I was mad when they weren't casted to be on the big screen. I was like furious. It's just
Yeah.
me. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's not just
Even
me.
if you, like I said, if you put him, Grant Gustin as Flash, and you don't even have to reference the show at all, you just two different Flashes.
Well, here's the thing: you don't have to anymore because movie Flash entered the TV show Flash.
I know.
He did, yeah.
So, who knows?
yeah,
Who knows?
I like how they did the Flash, the multiverse, and that.
And then the
everything.
original Flash from the old TV show.
Yeah, that exists.
Yeah.
Even though he's Jay Garrick, and then he wasn't. He was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So,
So
that's
that
there-
was
cool.
a nice touch.
Who knows?
Well, in the CW, every DC thing exists as a different universe.
Yeah.
Linda Carter exists. Michael, what's his name? Michael Keaton exists as Batman.
Yeah.
So, like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see how it goes down. But all right, we'll let you go, and we'll jump off here the comic book topic. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully, if you grab some books, or we can all start reading some stuff. We can start the show every week with some comic book talk. Sound good?
Absolutely. I'll say one more thing, guys. I just finished episode 3 of Stargirl right before you guys called me. It is fantastic.
Is that
You guys
on
aren't
DC
watching-
Network?
CW.
Yeah, it's on DC Network. I believe it comes out a day before. I think it comes out Monday night. And
Okay.
but I watched it on the CW as it happens. But yeah, it's especially the last 5 minutes, it'll knock your socks off.
I gotta get caught up back on Flash.
I'm behind.
I gotta
Oh, yeah,
I gotta
me
suck
too.
it up
Way
and just
behind.
finish Arrow. I got really
also behind
pissed.
there.
Really pissed
I mean-
with the whole Court of Owls. Not the Court of Owls. The League of Shadows. And
Well,
they're
that's like season 3.
and they're
right?
like, we
Yeah,
want
he's
you,
even more
Green
behind
Arrow,
than
to
me.
be the new.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done.
Well, unfortunately,
suck it up.
unfortunately, Arrow doesn't really get Arrow gets less and less as it goes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not as like.
Whereas
badass.
Flash is kind of more consistently good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. With
Arrow. I watched Arrow, and I was like, man, I like this. And I'm like, why do I like this so much? And I was like,
He's
oh,
Batman.
because he's trying. They're,
Yeah.
they're trying to make it a Batman show, but not have Batman. And I was like, and
I
then
mean, I love Batman too. Batman's my favorite DC, but I don't think they're comparable. He's like just being Stephen Amell, badass.
But
like,
yeah,
and
all of
then
his
there's
villains are Batman villains. Like the whole tone of the show is like very Batman-y to me.
He's just like dark. Yeah, they did make him darker, I
Yeah.
think, but
And then
I
the-
like that.
And
I
then
like
when
that.
then Ra's al Ghul's like, "You are the chosen one," I was like, "I'm fucking out of here."
Well, he never met Bruce Wayne.
yeah.
yeah, Bruce Wayne's.
Well,
not
didn't
in
they
that
hint to it?
universe.
He's like, "There's a guy from Gotham." I was trying like,
They always hint
They-
towards him.
yeah.
They a couple times they hinted towards Green Lantern or that John Diggle is Green Lantern.
Yeah.
his real last name's Stewart. You should find out at the very end.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
behind. I'm where he might get back together. He's gonna get back
Yeah.
together with Felicity.
The girl who plays the one girl on the show, she's really pretty.
Laurel, Felicity.
I think Laurel. Felicity's really
Black
good.
Canary?
Yeah, Black Canary in the show, and then Felicity's
the blonde
gorgeous.
one or the black-haired one?
The one that's like his love interest, but not Felicity. The other one.
So
and then,
Laurel?
and then she
Yeah,
becomes.
she dies.
and then she dies.
She
and
be-
I
yeah,
was all pissed
Then she comes
off.
back.
Yeah, she comes back
Oh,
as.
she's back. Oh, when she's bad, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was gorgeous, but Felicity, oh boy,
Oh,
she was
Felicity's so hot.
She
My
was
God.
good looking too.
All the girls on that show.
And the girl from-
on all the CW, they're all hot.
And the girl from Flash is really pretty too. His love interest.
yeah,
Oh,
Iris.
yeah.
Yeah,
Iris,
I
yeah.
have no
I
idea
think
what her real
they're-
name is.
Oh, I think Candace.
Patton.
Patton? Yeah, I knew it start with a P.
Patton.
Pat,
Yeah,
okay.
I follow them all on Instagram. I love
Supergirl
her.
is very cute.
How is that?
Melissa
Oh,
Benoist.
shit.
I heard that show's really good.
Supergirl's good. I have the
It
first
is.
2 seasons on Blu-ray.
She's started on
Yeah.
Glee, actually.
Really.
Yep, I'm watching her on Glee right now.
Me and Heidi were like 3 or 4 episodes of the Swamp Thing, and then we stopped. And even she was like, "I want to watch more." We just haven't had time to sit down and watch it. But even she got in the Swamp Thing.
I heard it's really good, but I didn't see it.
Oh, so the first 4 or 5 episodes were unbelievable. I like how they talk about it in a comic book when they said they took a premise that seemed so corny and so stupid and made it super serious, and it's just a fantastic book. Like all the runs of Swamp Thing have been really good, they said. But all right, well, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, gentlemen. Be good. Be safe.
Right. See you.
Right.
Bye.
All right, there's our comic book talk. New topic, new thing of the show.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah. I read that, and I know I read Exorcist is phenomenal. It's so funny. And then I read Wonder Woman. It's pretty good because the new art's really good. And then I read like 2 other books. I forget what they were.
Yeah, I gotta get.
I should write them down.
I gotta get back in it and start reading some
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, books are coming out slowly. DC's
Yeah.
kind of more on the ball than Marvel right now, just because they wanted to get going.
Yeah.
You know? And then the indie books are coming out slowly too.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're supposed to be getting some Pokemon expansion news. That's supposed to be coming out tomorrow.
I posted some today.
He
you see it?
did. I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What'd they announce?
The legendary bird Galarian types.
Maybe I was a day behind on my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what they are, but one's dark flying, and then the one's fighting. Zapdos is fighting flying.
Fighting, flying, dark and flying.
Moltres is
psychic,
dark.
Psychic and flying.
Yeah, and then
Interesting.
What's the other one? Lapdos.
Articuno.
Articuno. Yeah, it's just
Articuno,
psychic.
Zapdos, Moltres.
Yep.
Oh, so they're just revamping them?
Yeah, well, the Galarian bird, and they look different.
Yeah, they do look different. Like Zapdos looks more like a like Doduo, but like all like done up in Zapdos form.
Yeah,
Articuno's more like a like.
I didn't get to see the page yet. I haven't looked.
Here, I'm pulling it up.
Moltres looks fucking mean.
Really?
Oh, yeah,
And
it looks like a dragon
They were
kind of.
perched it on the personal, the Sword and Shield account. So
Yeah, they look pretty
Not Nina
wild.
Strauss, as she pulls it up.
There they are.
So Zapdos more along
Zapdos
looks
is like
a
orange colored
like
now.
a ridiculous ostrich.
If you want to scroll down,
And
you
then
can.
there's Moltres. It looks
Moltres
pretty mean.
looks awesome.
And then Articuno just looks more feminine than anything. I
Looks-
kind of like the
more
look.
More looks like an alien. It's like an alien bird now.
Yeah,
I like all 3. I like them a lot.
yeah. I'm a Zapdos fan, so I kind of like the look of Zapdos.
I like the Moltres.
Yeah, Moltres kind of looks like what they try to do with Charizard, where they just make it black and extra fires, like add more
Pretty
fire
much,
to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're cool looking.
Let me see.
Yeah, so that was announced. I don't know if there's anything else. That's only Pokemon stuff I've seen announced.
Yeah, and then we were supposed to get.
How about that? I don't know, not to interrupt you, but it says Daredevil, Marvel's going to get the rights back to the show in 6 months.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
a show they don't want to give up on.
Yeah, I
They don't wanna-
That
they-
last season was
I
very
don't
good.
think- Yeah, it was good.
They
yeah.
already said that pretty much what they want to keep out of that is they want to keep. They're not so eager, I guess, for Iron Fist or Jessica Jones, which
Yeah, you can't blame them.
but they really want Daredevil, Punisher, and Luke Cage.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely Punisher. That would be stupid not to let that one go.
Yeah,
Or
you have
Daredevil.
with a big name actor
Yeah.
like
oh
that.
my God, John
Yeah.
Bernthal.
Yeah,
And
and especially
so
when they're
good.
into
He's,
it.
like,
you know?
perfect.
Yeah.
That, if the actor wants to do it, that's
Perfect
even better.
casting.
dude, he went to an actual comic shop and bought. He said, "What are the best books for the Punisher?" And the
Yeah.
guy recommended them. He
And
goes,
he
"Okay,
bought
I'm gonna
them
read." He bought them all, read them, and there you go. That's
Yeah.
his Punisher. So, good job, John.
Not many actors do that.
No,
no,
they
not
don't.
at
Robert,
all.
Robert Downey Jr. openly said, "I've never read an Iron Man
Yeah.
comic."
That's right.
He's
yeah.
like, "I don't care."
But he just luckily had the
He doesn't have to act.
personality of
Yeah, he doesn't have
Tony
to act.
Stark.
Just
So,
be
like,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, when I went to some of the conventions with John Bernthal when The Walking Dead was big, my God, was he's such a nice guy. Like, no joke.
he was
like,
perfectly cast for that too.
Yeah, he was like he was like a party guy. Like every time he went to the convention, he was so glad to be there. You know what I mean? Not like some of them are like whatever.
I was
but
so into that
excellent.
show, man. When that was one of the talking to comic books before we jump off it completely. That was the last comic book where I was like completely into it. Now I went and bought I wasn't from the beginning. I was just more like I caught it late and I got the big books,
The
the
compendiums.
compendiums, and I
Don't
was
worry, I'll help you.
super into it. And then I was getting them digitally, and then I got up to close. I think I was like just over 100. And then I was watching the TV show, and the TV show upset me so much. I was like, "You have these amazing characters, and you're just not doing them justice." Like I was like, "Man, Andrea is just a punk in this show." And I was like, I love Norman Reedus. I think he's a fantastic actor, a good person. But that whole show was written around him and not Rick. And
It's supposed to be about Rick and Carl.
yeah, and I was like the whole and they would even the people who created the show were like, all right, here's where we are in the show, here's where we are in the book, and then they're like, here's what we have to get to. How would Daryl handle this situation? And I was like, if that's how you're going into writing your show, you're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just, like, I don't know. It bummed me out. Like, and then they kind of caught my interest again with Negan, but I was like, I can't even trust them with Negan because they're going to be like this big badass Daryl and Negan. Like, you can't have two, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be give or take here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Rick is your heavyweight, and he's not even on your show anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick's my favorite. That's when I was like done. I'm like, oh, you don't have Rick on anymore?
I always said to
don't
people, I
need
said,
watch
once
you
he's
anymore.
off the show's going to be over. I'm like, no, it's not. What happened?
No one cares.
Yep.
I stopped caring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick is who it's about.
I know a lot of people who completely turned off on that show when they killed Carl. Like, that death scene
Oh,
was too
yes.
much for them. They're like, we can't do it.
I didn't even get that far.
And
or
I
even
was
Glenn, or even Glenn with the
Oh yeah,
whole
I'm
Negan
not.
stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Glenn,
Carl.
yeah.
Glenn. Yeah, Glenn.
A lot of people fell off then, I think, after that.
I remember.
think
I never really
that was
watched it.
it.
I didn't-
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
my bag.
Glenn was a turning point. A huge chunk of their audience left with Glenn.
They really
were like,
did.
that was too much, and I was like, I'm sorry, but if you didn't like, this is why I was telling you is read the book, because that if they did a quarter of that and they did all 150%, and it was done so well.
Yeah.
It really,
Yeah.
I love Glenn so much. He's one of my favorite characters. He's probably in my top, I'd say he's definitely in my top 5,
I
but
wa-
I knew that was coming.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
watched
how
the
he
Negan
dies
episode.
in
I
in
watched the
comic.
first episode of Negan, and I watched it, and I was like, that there hasn't been a character that was nailed in that show since probably
Rick and Carl.
Rick, Carl, Glenn.
Glenn.
And
Maggie's pretty good.
Andrea.
Maggie, and Michonne is done pretty
Michonne
well.
is excellent.
Yeah, Michonne,
she
yeah.
kicks ass.
Did she ever in the show? Did she ever start losing her mind and start talking to herself? And
I didn't get that
'cause
far.
I know in the comics she has like a
That's
phone. She has like a phone she talks to.
From what I remember, I think they kind of like had her go like out into this is like much later into the series where
They rid her off.
she had
Wrote her off?
They wrote her off, but she wasn't dead. She had to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Even in the comics, her and Rick had a love interest.
yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. I mean,
The
I
governor
thought she
pissed
was
me off.
with, I thought she was with a pastor or something in the comics.
She was
Michonne.
with. Was she with what's his name for a little bit?
you mean Tyrese.
Tyrese.
The guy with the ice pick.
I liked him, and they killed him off.
Yeah, I liked him
But
too.
he was supposed to die. Yeah, like they
Once
they
again,
stayed
that's
true
another
with him.
character who was literally like the embodiment of Superman in the comics, and in the TV show, he
Not that
cried
big.
and watched babies.
Yeah,
He was a
they did
babysitter
not-
the whole time.
They did not do good with him.
Yeah.
I still liked him, but they didn't do good with him.
Yeah.
Andrea was weak. Yeah,
Andrea is Daryl.
yeah. They
She-
really toned her down.
Yep,
I didn't like that.
She should be Daryl.
Yeah, that's not cool.
And like the whole thing with like the governor was horrible. It was
They
horribly
toned
done.
him down. Yeah, they toned him down.
They toned him
too.
down. Like, listen, I know they
I
couldn't
mean, I
do the
hate
whole
him,
rape
but
scene on
You
TV.
can't do that on TV. I'd lose my shit.
They hinted at it with Maggie, where he made her stand there like topless and stuff. But they tried to carry over Michonne's hate from the comic to the governor in the TV show
without
having the
saying it.
reason why she hated him so
No,
much.
So it's like,
It didn't make sense.
She
They
was
should
like,
have.
she's like,
They should have
oh,
said something.
Andrea's my best friend, and now she like she would not me, and I'm gonna kill you and cut your eye out of your head. Like, that doesn't equate at all. That doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. Like, they're like, we're gonna escape, and she's like, no, I'm going back. I gotta fuck him up because he took my best friend. Like, no, that doesn't.
The hatred's not equal.
Yeah,
No.
because in the comic he legit like tied her to a wall and
It was
like
disgusting.
and gang rape. Like they just
God.
took
It was
turns on her
disgusting.
On
for
Michonne?
on Michonne for days and days and
God.
days. So when they're about to escape and she gets all her weapons back, they're like, "All we have to do is jump over this wall. And we're out." And she's like, "I'm going back." And she castrates him, cuts his one arm off, cuts his leg off, stabs him in the eye. And she's
He
about
deserves it.
She's about to finish him, and then they all bust in and she jumps out,
Okay.
and he survives.
Oh boy.
And then comes back after he recovers. But it's like they try to recreate that in the comic from the show, and it was just
It was
like
poorly done.
It wasn't the same. Yeah. And I know you can't do that in the show,
You can't,
but
no.
I mean they could because
Just not show everything.
yeah.
I mean, they showed on Nip Tuck, a dude banging a fucking chick.
Did you ever watch fucking Sons of Anarchy on TV?
I mean,
I did.
no, I never really.
It's
I
not
never
not my
did.
cup of tea.
Yeah.
But
I
Mark
didn't-
loves it.
I did not think I'd be into it.
I tried. I couldn't.
I thought it was
It's not my
so.
show.
It was excellent. I thought it was a great show.
I have
Yeah.
a thing about it. I don't know.
You don't like
Did you try watching
You
it?
don't like Peg
I
Bundy?
try- I tried
She's
that.
on it.
No, I mean, I kind of tried, but I'm just not into
Yeah,
it.
I couldn't either.
I'm just not.
It hooked me.
That's
It
just
hooked
me.
me. And I'm not into any of that stuff at all.
Yeah.
And it hooked me. Man, Opie in that. Oh, I was
My
like,
mom and dad were into that, like
Such
for the
a-
longest
A lot of
time.
people
like,
were.
They're like, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I never
Mom?
got into it.
there was a rape scene in that show that was a bit. Ooh, It was tough.
It was FX. They probably got away with it.
I couldn't believe
big
that. I
time.
couldn't believe how much they
Yeah, they get away with
they
a lot.
they did, and it involved Peg. Well, not Peg, but you know,
Peg.
Yeah,
Peg Bundy.
yeah,
Her husband was the writer producer of that show.
yeah, and she does a lot of the music too. She's a musician.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How
I
about
didn't know
that?
that.
All right.
Interesting.
Katie Seagal. There you go.
Sony 5's was supposed to be June 5th. This postponed. No really reason.
Did they give a date?
Well,
I thought they said because of the goings on in the world. That's why they.
with the riots and
Yeah.
all, yeah, they were like, yeah, maybe.
I think
shouldn't do
the
that.
thing I read is like maybe this is not the time to be focused on video
Yeah.
games.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't buy it. I don't think they're ready yet.
I mean, I get it because people will be like, "Why are you doing this now?"
But there's
no
some-
matter if it was Nintendo or
Yeah.
Xbox. I
But there were so many other things that happened too, like people,
Yeah.
like the Call of Duty page was like, "Yo, like stuff's going on, like take a fucking break and
Yeah.
let hit the bricks, do something, do something else besides this."
Yeah.
Even Nickelodeon's like, "Yeah, we're gonna take like an 8 minute break, 8 minute and some odd minute break
Yeah.
because of this," and then it's
I get
it's
that.
just been really.
I get that,
I know,
but
it's crazy.
I think at some point in time too, we do need a little bit of escape from.
I
from
understand,
it.
but you can't ignore the issue itself.
Well,
That's what it
here's
comes
the
down
problem.
to.
The issue is so convoluted with everyone's opinions that no one really knows what the issue is.
The whole thing is there's a word for it because I kind of learned it from work from a coworker, and it's like they obfuscate the situation. Pretty much what it is.
That's a word.
It
Wow.
is an actual word. I couldn't believe it when I looked it up when my coworker told me. It's kind of like all over the place where like with logic and all, and it's just like bits and pieces to where you're getting thrown off one way to another way, and it really fucks with people big time.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. It's kind of like
Or
an
they
over-
hear one thing and then, or someone tells something, they
Yeah.
believe it, and that might not be the truth.
or like this is the right thing, but the other people are like, no way, it like
Yeah.
goes over
Yeah.
their head, but they're sticking to that one thing that's morally wrong or
No, whatever.
whatever, like opinion wise, and that's really just a crazy thing to even
It's
even
tough.
get into.
It's tough, man. Like I do. I mean, you were here for after our post banging beers conference with me and my dad.
Oh
Like,
man, I was getting wow.
It was
I thought I was gonna have to pull the both of you guys.
no,
I know,
that's just,
I know.
That's
I'm
just how
saying,
that's
no.
how me and my dad talk. It looked like we were gonna kill each other.
Aw.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, all right, man, see you. Love
I was
you.
just getting
Bye.
I was just getting like a little bummed. I'm like,
Yeah, that's just we're
Like-
very passionate people. So
and like it takes a lot, like, but I was getting like maybe like a quarter,
Uncomfortable?
but like if I was hitting boiling point, I'd be like, oh man, Like,
Yeah,
I mean that was a whole nother
that's
thing.
just that's
but-
how we communicate.
No, but no, it's kind of a good thing hearing just perspectives in general. Really,
That's why I
like.
That's why I can have
Yeah.
conversation with my dad, because we can get to that point, but
Yeah.
we still can know when to dial it back down and say, all right, I love you. See you later. Have a good day.
You were fucking hammering him, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I was. I don't back down, and he didn't either.
You're like, oh, okay.
Well, no, because every single time he
You
would try to pull
were.
a point, I would break the point back down to why people are doing why they're doing it. He was, and he's not wrong in his beliefs, and he's not hateful for believing what he believes, but he's very against people of doing destruction, and a part of me, I think it sucks if someone loses their business. I think it sucks if a store gets destroyed. I think it sucks if a building gets burned down. But if you can watch the news and you are offended that someone's took a TV, but you're not offended that people are dying,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Like you're valuing like buildings and material over human life. And then if you're one of the people who, I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to like put a divide in our audience, but if you're someone who puts the all lives matter, you don't get it. You don't get it. All lives matter.
Yeah, that's like saying straight pride. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, come on. let it
Yeah,
go.
it's ridiculous. And then like I talk to people too, and they're like, it's scary because white people are out there getting beat up by these mobsters, and I was like, that's scary, isn't it? They're like, yeah, like I could be attacked for being white. And I was like, welcome to a second of a mindset of someone who's of color.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? I said, if you're fearing your life because you're going out because you're white, because you think you're going to be subjected or a subject of violence because of your skin tone, that's what people of color go through every single day. Now imagine going through that for the people who wear a badge and I don't hate cops. This is not a I hate cops thing, but I don't like bad cops. And I argue with my dad too that even the best cop in the world, if he shows up on scene to help his buddy and watches his buddy do something unethical, you're just as bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where we need to, like, I shouldn't hear a light and siren go off in my head and be like, shit, like I'm nervous. And I'm nervous because just I get intimidated by cops at points, but like I couldn't even imagine being black. Like a black guy runs through a red light, they're like, man, am I going to survive this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Scary.
that shouldn't be our mindset going into things. And then when peaceful protests were done by athletes or by people and taking knees, it was a joke. And it was like they were told they were un-American because they did it. But now they're like, all right, well, we tried that. And you said we were a joke. You said we were pieces of shit. And now we went to go peacefully protest, you know, at City Hall, and they shot us and hit us with tear gas. We can't take it no more. So people as society can only take so much beating before they fight back, and part of their fighting back is doing damage
As well, there were two other cases then too, where there was a black woman that was an EMT worker. She was sleeping in her living room. The cops, or the squad, kicked the door in and shot her while she was sleeping. That was one thing, and I'm like,
insane.
Well, her husband heard someone. They said they had a no.
okay. I didn't know about that.
So they were under investigation for something, and the investigation was incorrect. It was inconclusive, but they had what was called a no. And this is a legal thing. This can legally be done. The police can do what they call a no-knock warrant.
Yeah, Jim Cornette actually brought this up. It was in Kentucky somewhere.
They can can legally walk into your house or kick your door down without you even knowing it in the middle of the night. So if you don't know, and they don't have to identify themselves.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who protects your home or arms your home, this is what happened. Now the cops are turning around saying they identified themselves, but the husband is saying no, they didn't. So the husband at 4 in the morning hears a bunch of people in his house, goes down, sees it, they see each other, he shoots, and they start shooting back. She's upstairs in the bed, and all the bullets that were let loose killed her.
And they went there. Jim Cornette told the whole story because it's right near somewhere he
Yeah.
lives. They went there to get the guy. The guy didn't live there anymore, so these new people moved in. That guy actually was arrested by other police, and he was already contained, and they were going to get the guy that was already arrested.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that aspect
Yeah,
of it.
that
Yeah,
did happen.
Yeah.
crazy. Or like
And they just were
It's a
busted
shame.
in. So that guy, he fired because he's like, who's trying to bust in the house? And then they started shooting back, and then the wife got killed there, and that's
So
terrible.
sad.
and nobody got in trouble.
No, that
Wow.
they should though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or
Yeah.
Well, apparently the no knock order is now done in that city. You can't do that anymore.
It should be
That
unconstitutional.
Shouldn't be, yeah,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of really crazy stuff out there, man, and we're not here to sway your one pin or the other, and I'm not here to tell you if you feel that way is wrong and what we're saying is right. But at the end of the day, man, like there needs to be a change here.
Yeah. Well, today was voting. You know?
Realistically, it needs to be talked about, and there needs to be things that need to be brought up in order to educate the audience when it comes to it,
yeah.
and what the logic is, what it actually means, because a lot of the people don't ask questions. They just take it from face value,
Or what
and they
someone
just
tells them.
assume like, oh well, you're wrong. The worst thing that a human being can have, mentally, is to be wrong about things and not admit that they're wrong then too. And that's out of anything, out of this whole situation, people can be wrong, and no one really, can step up and say that. Like, I mean, hey, I can admit that I'm wrong. And not it's a scale, but I'm just used to it because I'd rather
You're wrong
be
a lot.
I'd rather be
I'm
honest.
the wrong guy.
I rather be honest, and
Well,
hey, if I don't know about it, I'll tell you I don't know. Like,
People
you
and
tell me,
this
I'll
this
tell
this
you,
can
you
probably
know?
hurt people's feelings, but for the most part, as human beings, we're sheep.
Yeah,
It's been proven.
A lot of people just follow along.
Yeah.
That's the
Most
basic
people-
bitch thing. Like that's but a lot of people are basic.
Yeah,
And
I
they
mean,
just
there's been
take
experiments done where you have like a guy sit like it's just a weird experiment. I've seen it done 100 times, and it's crazy when it's done. So they take one person who's in on it, and like so say I'm in on the thing. Ben walks in, and we don't know each other, and we're in a waiting room, and they put a beep goes off, and the beep goes off, and I stand up for 3 seconds and then sit down. And if the beep goes off again, and I stand up, and I sit back down, and I do it like 5 or 6 times, And Ben keeps looking at me, and this is you can watch this on the internet. It just shows how people are so quickly to follow another person without any order.
I guess that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And then Ben sees me do it 5 or 6 times, and the beep goes off, and he stands up. So then me and him are both doing it, and he doesn't even realize why he's doing it, but he's doing because he sees me doing it.
Yeah.
And then they add a next person in who has no idea why, and they're like, "What the hell?" And they see 2 people doing it, and it only takes you 3 times before you start doing it. And then Andy joins the room, and then Andy sees it and goes, well, if they're doing it, I guess we have to do it. And that's literally where we at now, except insert politics, where people are like, no, you have to, this is the side you're on.
Yeah, so
and
you have to do this.
It's not okay to be in the middle.
Yeah.
It's sad.
That's why you should always ask questions,
Yeah.
rather than, that's the way it's done. Well, why?
Yeah, why am I standing every time that beeps? And everyone goes, well, I'm only doing it because he did it. And then you're like, we're dumb.
Yeah, well, why are we doing this? You know how people are like, well, you can't eat that. That's a breakfast food. Like, well, why can't I eat it whenever I want? Because.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that. It makes no sense.
Sometimes for dinner, we make breakfast.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because
There's
it's like,
nothing wrong
let's have
with
breakfast
that.
for dinner.
Yeah.
You're eating food. It's you
It's
know
food,
what I mean?
yeah.
It is what it is.
The time limits on food is ridiculous.
All right. Well,
Anyway, you were saying PlayStation. You think there's ulterior motives?
I don't know. I think
Or
I
it's a
think-
scapegoat.
I don't know if it's a scapegoat. I just don't know if they're prepared yet.
Maybe, possibly.
I'm not sure.
What-
I know there's some other people, like, we don't generally talk about makeup because nobody usually cares about makeup, but I know some makeup companies are doing the same thing.
Really?
And launch,
I know Nintendo said they're not doing any directs for a while.
You just hold off. Which
Yeah.
is maybe the smart thing. People,
So
why are you doing this when what's going on in the world? I'm like, I kind of get it. Just so wait a week and then people calm down.
Now, here's a question I have for the Sony side of things. And I remember asking you this when we were sitting there watching some stuff. If Sony comes out and shows games, right? But the games they show are like 4 to 5 years out, would you consider that a successful debut?
I wouldn't. Not really, because
yeah.
we want
I
to
would
know
think
what's
that's
coming out when
weird.
the system's coming out.
I would
The-
agree.
The new system.
think-
Not hey, this one's coming out in a couple years. Well, I don't care.
But that's been kind of Sony's MO for a long time now. They kind of show you a game that's 10 years out, and then they ride those games for the next 5 E3s.
It's like, I wouldn't be excited.
Well, here's
about a
what
game
I was
that's
thinking of
so
too.
far
Then
away.
too. So we know we know that you're an Xbox guy. And
I own both, but I prefer one over the other.
I know, but I'm
yes.
just saying, like, they're just mowing through. They just keep going business as usual. But with everything going on, Sony's just like, you know what? We'll just take care of this. Playing into. I'm not saying this is a negative way, but like how Microsoft's just like, fuck it, we don't care. Like the way that I paint the picture, just as just a question.
They're playing catch up.
They're like, hey, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going through this, even though there's something going on. And Sony's like, well, wait a minute, we're gonna pull back a little bit.
Well, they didn't have to
You know what I
cancel
mean?
anything
But-
because they put their conference out before this happened.
I'm just saying, though, people
So-
can
so-
look into it that way.
Yeah, but they're not pushing through anything because they're not. They don't have anything to cancel because they didn't have a show planned this week.
No, I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
just
yeah.
you know, it's as a situation.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, wait a minute here. You know
Now,
what I
if
mean?
Sony and Xbox
See
both
what
had
you're
a show
saying.
coming out this Friday and Sony canceled because they wanted to show respect to what's going on in the world, and Xbox said,
Right.
"Well, fuck it, we're not canceling it." Then I would agree with your sentiment.
well,
but,
that's what I'm
yeah.
that's what I'm driving at. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it as a bad thing, but playing
Yeah. No,
just
I-
playing the situation
yeah,
out.
100.
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I do know Xbox does have a show. I don't know if it's June or July, but that's where they said it's going to be a lot of early reports. So this is the thing too, where a lot of people think Sony might hold off because some of the leaks came out for what Microsoft might be doing with their next show, where they're going to show more exclusives. And I think Sony was like, "Shit, I don't know if we can compete with that show yet." So
Very
that's
well,
a
yeah.
rumor. It's
But,
just a
but
rumor.
like, how long could you hold off then? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't hold off a week and have new games to talk about.
Yeah,
Right,
so
right.
I don't know what the strategy is. But did you see that when they did the reveal, they showed a secondary controller,
No, I didn't see that.
the
I
same
was-
controller, but it's all black.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I posted that on the page a week ago.
And the
Or so.
funny thing
I don't
too,
like the white and black one.
Yeah,
and the funny thing too with how the music plays, like it was like the original PlayStation like tune, and like they did like some wacky
Yeah.
one, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're getting at, but to get to your like 4 or 5 games out 5 years out, if they didn't say like at least 2 games would be at launch If there's a third game, I'd be okay with it.
What
but
do you
if
think?
There's two, I'd be a little lackluster.
What do you think their launch games are, exclusive wise? Because they have a list out of games that are going to be coming out with the system, but it's all third party.
Is it Last of Us 2 coming out launch or no?
That's it's for pre-order, but I don't know if they have an actual date yet.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't think they have any dates for anything PlayStation 5 at all.
Now, if this was like
I don't think
late 90s, early 2000s, I'd be right up on that shit. But now, like, it's to the point I'm just like, I don't really dive into this stuff anymore because I don't have like 7 or 8 magazines to read about on it. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. I don't think anything's really announced launch. They have to have at least 2 games come out.
At least 2 games, yeah. 3 games would be ideal, but 2 would just be would be a little lacking.
Like not PlayStation themselves, but just
like come on
in general. Like Infamous came out for PlayStation 4.
Yeah, and like for me,
that was actually a couple months later, but it's like 2 months later. But
for me, at least, like at this point, like if you're really you're batting down the hatches, you know what I mean, and you have so many games, like throw a bone, you know what I mean? Come on, like 3 games. If there were 7 games,
I'd have 10. I'd be like, we're not launched 10.
If there was like 4
that's enough
games,
for other people.
So put it this way: 10 games,
10 exclusives.
Yeah. No, well, not necessarily.
Well,
10 overall. 10 overall.
If I was
for the system,
if I was Nintendo, I would.
Well,
because
you'll
have a bunch of dead franchises you could mine for.
When it comes to here's just a way to do it. If you look at the PS4, right, the last system, I think when it comes to exclusive games for the entire run of the system.
There's not really that many.
It's only around 30 games exclusively. Like I'm talking exclusive PlayStation content games. It's not that high. So to have 10 at launch is like half of what you did for an entire console run.
Yeah, but I mean,
it does take a lot of time to polish and make a really good brand new game.
Yeah.
2 I think would be I think that's fine.
Like it just all depends on how many you say that you're going to come out with. Like if say for example if it's 10, at least 3,
like
4 would be ideal.
Assassin's
3 would
Creed,
be okay.
Yeah.
2, no.
10 is definitely when it comes to system launch.
Yeah.
I don't know how PlayStation's going to handle it, but I already know like Xbox is already saying, like just from Xbox side, you're getting over 1,000 games at launch because
everything's
but I wouldn't count the old games.
Yeah, I don't count those.
But what they're
Because
saying
that's
is,
kind of cheating. Because Nintendo could be like, look how many games is on the Switch, and they're going to be brand new, and they're all Nintendo, Super Nintendo games.
well,
that doesn't count.
Well, here's if Nintendo turns around and says you buy that Switch at launch, we're telling you we're going to give you access to all your backwards compatible everything you had. It's all going to be available.
That's great, but
That's
how many,
a good selling
how many
point.
new games do you have?
Yeah, see, I care about the new games too.
So if you tell me there's
if
10
Xbox
brand new
goes,
ones,
we have 1,000 games, and 2 of them are new, I'd be like, come on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
it's a nice selling point.
yeah.
But don't say that you have 1,000 new games coming out.
It's looking
Yeah.
like if you look at you have to realize too, a lot of the games that are coming out for the system are releasing a couple months before the system does. So you have I believe Assassin's Creed is not going to be an exclusive day one launch with the new console. Cyberpunk is not launching with the new console.
Yeah,
they're all
main
coming
ones.
out before the new console releases. But what these consoles are now doing is saying, if you're not buying Cyberpunk because you're waiting for the next console, you don't have to. You can still enjoy the game when it comes out, and we will port it to the new console for you, and it will run on your new system. I think that's where we're like an older system.
So the selling point is, even though you buy the game before the new system comes out, you could still play it.
Yeah.
That makes
so that's what they're trying to
fine,
say when
yeah.
there's more games going to be for the system. They may not be launch titles.
Yeah. But see, I don't like that because then it's like, why am I buying that new system?
Yeah, it's not exciting for me.
You know,
I
like-
agree with that. Yeah, I like new.
Like
games
I'm gonna
to come
buy
out
the
with
new
the
systems,
system.
but yeah, I want reasons that you can only play this on the new system. I still have to get the new system.
Because then I'll just keep my old system and just keep playing.
Yeah,
Yeah, the big selling point is obviously the new graphics and the SSDs and the ray tracings and it's going to make your game look
The
better.
most I want bigger hard drives, and they're both not giving us real big hard drives. I don't understand
No.
I
that.
agree with that.
We should
yeah.
have 5 terabyte hard drives. That way we have plenty of
Yeah,
space.
it should be absolutely nutty for how the hard drive evolved over the years.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Instead of going size, they're going speed with the hard drive.
I don't care about
Which
that.
is great because
Loading times.
I mean, that's nice,
I
but
still
like,
don't care.
if
Really?
if your
No.
if your hard drive gets full on 10 games, you're like,
Let me
You know,
tell you
'cause-
the hassle I went through just to install Final Fantasy VII. I was telling Andy about it. It was such a pain in my ass to get Final Fantasy on there. I had to go through all this shit just to get it on. I was it took half an hour
She's
to delete
doling
stuff.
it out.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
you have your-
I had to go through half an hour to delete stuff,
And I'm like,
and then another 40 minutes just to download it. I was really mad.
Yeah.
End rant. But I really
Yeah,
like the game.
Yeah,
Because
it does suck when you have
500 gig
I was
hard
mad.
drive limit. It's like
I was really mad. And then
Yeah.
I had to say, Mark, do you mind if I delete this? Because you were playing this before. Because, we share, and I'm not going to be rude like that.
Yeah.
I was really pissed. That was all.
What would be some games for the PlayStation you would want at launch? Like what titles? So Last of Us is already kind of out on the table.
yeah, and I don't even want that.
Is
but-
Last of Us a system seller for you?
No.
Definitely not with the whole with the premise of it. I think they're beating the whole zombie thing. I'm kind of done.
I was done
zombie.
when that one started.
Yeah.
Other than Resident Evil,
I got
you.
I got it like Resident Evil, and then like a little bit with The Walking Dead. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was never into that.
okay, but then like that now it's like, all right,
Yeah, enough.
Yeah.
yeah.
What are some other titles?
Guitar Hero.
I mean, I don't even.
I would like the second part of Final Fantasy VII to be ready ASAP.
I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think we're
It
getting that
took 10
anytime
years to get this one. I was like, what is it going to take
Oh,
another time to get
God.
part 2?
I'm
Yeah.
very impatient.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they're working on that, but I don't. That's probably not. At
By
least
the
2
time
years
it
out.
comes out, the PlayStation 4 would have like a 14-year
Yeah,
run.
I don't know what. Like,
It'd be PlayStation 6. We'll see that.
maybe if they did a new
be so mad.
Crash Bandicoot, that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really
Yeah.
neat.
Maybe
Make
a
it-
new Uncharted.
They might.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have one in the barrel. Like, I don't know what's loaded really other than that Last of Us.
They've been
which I
keeping
don't
their
care
cards
about.
very close to their chest.
Like maybe the Spider-Man 2. I mean, Spider-Man's been out for a while.
You got to admit though, would be really neat. A new Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, but that would be on everything though.
Well, I mean, still
Tomb
like,
Raider. Tomb
make
Raider is
it-
almost becoming a household
like
2-3
everything.
year game.
Mm.
And I think when Tomb Raider does come out, it's a timed exclusive first on Xbox. So it comes out on
I
Xbox.
know the other ones were.
Yeah, so it'll drop for Xbox and then it won't come out for PlayStation for like 2-3 years.
I'm still living in the past when it was still PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
And the Tomb Raider games are fantastic. Honestly,
Yeah.
for how much I loved Uncharted, when Tomb Raider came out, I was like, man, I don't think I need another Uncharted. I kind of dig this Tomb Raider series now.
The new
I
one.
only
how
played the
she's-
first-
How she's
The
done
last
up now.
the last
different.
3 were
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, they were really fun games.
Yeah, I only played the first one. I liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, the first one, it was like almost horror. There was some horror elements, and it was like it was a very brand new, fresh Laura. Like she was not a badass yet. And then when you get her in part 2 and then part 3, she's like seasoned.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Like her like when you first get her in the game, she's just a human crash dummy. She's just getting fucked up left
She's
and
a
right.
fucking punk.
She's like falling off cliffs. She's getting hurt. Like she's getting rocks dropped on her, and she's just like a bloody mess. And then by the end of the game, she's just like you could finally see like when you play the first one,
She actually
she
progressed
evolves.
in-
She evolves as a person throughout the game, and like by the end, she's like, all right, I'm fucking the Tomb Raider. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was awesome. It was a good development. It was done really well. If you haven't played it, you can get it really cheap. It's really good. Yeah, the only thing I can say is, I mean, I don't see Spider-Man anytime soon. I don't see a God of War anytime soon.
Even though it really should come out.
Yeah, that's a ways off.
one.
I don't know what
that
they're
just-
what if they did Twisted Metal? That'd be cool. A new Twisted
Dude,
Metal.
that they for me, they have Sony. There's two things I would. All right, so instead of trying to guess what they do come out, let's switch topics here and let's do what would be your Sony wish list. Like what would you want out of Sony with this new
boy.
system
Okay.
are going forward? And I'll do mine first. I would like to see Sony take what Xbox is doing when it comes to their older titles. The PlayStation and PlayStation 2 and even PlayStation 3's game library is so good. If PlayStation would
vested,
just
yeah.
really go back and talk to these developers and be like, "Hey, can we work something out?" Because that's literally all it takes. Xbox goes back and reaches out to an older title and says, "Hey, this game was iconic for our system. Can we work out a deal that we re-release it and put it on our system again?" And all you like.
I agree with that.
And all you have to do
100%.
is just port it, like kind of emulate it and port it to the new system.
Look at it this way. I mean, there's so many games that are out there now that if you try to get them physically, they're like 80, 90, $100 roughly, and they're cult classics. And if you drive the whole thing, well, we have all these different games and like going the backlog with the library and all that. That would definitely really open it up for them. And like you said, like if they went over them and said, "Hey, we have this game. Hey, if this does well enough, do you think maybe you can make another new one for fans to get back into and be like, not only will that give them jobs to do, the developers, but at the same time, people get what they want. PlayStation gets their money and the developers, and everybody wins.
Especially
Yeah.
if the game does well.
If the game does well, yeah.
That's my and really it wouldn't take much. I wouldn't say not takes much. I don't know what goes into making a game, but
I'm sure. I think it's with like copyright. It's
yeah.
like pretty much with like copyrights, trademarks,
Yeah.
and all that
it's
other
just
shit.
that would be
I
my
know.
number one. I would love to see more backward support from PlayStation.
Yeah.
The only really time they did it for me is when they were like, "Oh, here's Dark Cloud 1 and 2," and I was like, "Sold." Like, I love those games. Like, I can play them now on my new system.
Speaking of which, that would be one game that I would definitely bring
new
back, like
version?
a new Dark Cloud.
Yeah.
and then really build the shit out
Two
of
words why I hate that game: breaking weapons
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
and the powder. That sucked.
yeah, and the worst thing, you lost the weapon when
Yeah.
it broke.
Ugh.
Now, if it broke and then you had to get
You go back to town and get it fixed.
you
yeah.
got it fixed and you still had it, okay, but like there were certain weapons that you had, you really
Yeah.
got to watch. Like for the first Dark Cloud, there was a cat that had a slingshot, and the one weapon slingshot was called Stanley or Stu, and it told you different techniques are like, oh, he's weak against fire, or like, oh, he's weak against this, and it's like, oh, use a blunt weapon, and you switched out to the other characters and all then too.
Yeah.
And like, it broke, you're fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I hate breaking weapons. It's horrible. People are like it's realistic,
so
yeah, but it's not fun.
counterintuitive.
It's
so
not fun.
counterintuitive.
I'm in the bottom of the dungeon. I ran out of weapon powder.
Here's-
I'm done.
Here's a thing to ask you then too. So like, I know like with first person shooters, I know like a lot of people play Doom here. At least someone played. No, Bree, you never played Doom.
No,
okay.
I
That's
didn't.
okay.
I started the new one. I liked it. I just took a break. And
Doom
had to- I had to-
Eternal?
That
Yeah.
one?
Oh, I didn't play that one.
But I'm
either.
just saying, for example, like back in the like these older games, like Duke Nukem or Doom or Wolfenstein, you had like the whole revolving weapon thing.
Not realistic, but fun.
Versus the realistic where you had to figure out, okay, how am I going to get this sniper rifle and the pistol and Halo to last me throughout the whole game, like just like challenge wise. Like to me, I really feel like that if there was like 3 weapons, bless you by the way. There's like 3 weapons, okay, like not saying sub weapons like grenades. That's because that's bullshit for me. But like to me at least, like I'm just so used to having that full array of weapons that I'm just like I can't fucking get rid of that.
Like
You know what I mean?
not so much. I won't mind at Halo because it was always that way. But like BioShock 1 and 2, you could have every weapon, and then 3 comes along and you only have 2 weapons. Like what? Oh, people are like that's that, but that's more realistic. Oh, and a floating city, that's realistic in the sky, like and shooting powers out of your hands. So like throw that the whole. He could only carry two weapons because that's realistic. Like, out the window.
Honestly, I really like how like the new Dooms actually implement this. Like they're like, okay, well we have the wheel yet, but you can pick 3 weapons out of that whole wheel and just switch out in between which one you want.
That's fine.
As a like first, like your primary, secondary, and whatever. Like your other one, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But,
so what would be your wish list for the new Sony? What would you like to see out of the system?
I would like any Final Fantasy because that's always been my favorite game. I like I don't know what to call it, so I'd say like their Tales of Vesperia, like that series. I like Kingdom Hearts a lot. I also like Dragon Quest. Sims I really enjoy. Uncharted.
Sims 5, I would say is that's what they're looking for a system launcher.
I don't think Dragon Quest is on Xbox, is it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think it is.
Okay,
I'm not sure though.
I didn't know if it
9
was a
was-
Nintendo
no,
exclusive.
was it 10 or
Because I
11?
played on Nintendo, but I thought it was on more than
You're
one.
probably thinking Blue Dragon because it was made.
That was on
it was,
Xbox,
It
yeah,
was
but
very
same thing.
similar.
I
to
don't
that,
think
but
there was any-
with like Shadows, like Dragon
Because
Shadows. and
PlayStation
all.
2 had Dragon Quest and 3 had Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest.
I don't think Xbox does.
8, I think that might have
I think
been.
they're at 11 now.
They're deep into that.
That's real big in Japan. That and Monster Hunter. I would like Twisted Metal and Crash Bandicoot and Jet Moto. Remember Jet Moto with the racing,
I
with
see.
the hover bikes?
or Cool Burners.
Yeah, bring all that like 90s stuff back.
Hey, it's in, so
Yeah.
very well we might get it.
And they could do like Sly Cooper,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what?
Jack and Dexter.
Sly Cooper for me was 100%. I always try to collect everything in that. That was one of the very few games you can go back and actually try and collect all the items,
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah, Dragon Quest.
that.
Dragon Quest is on every other platform except Xbox.
I wonder why. That's
I'm
weird.
not sure.
It's interesting to know.
That's how all the RPGs were back in the day. Well, they were all Super Nintendo. And then they went to PlayStation.
Went to Nintendo.
And
Super
then Nintendo 64
yeah.
had 0.
Yeah.
And then they stayed with PlayStation. And they went with both.
I can see a Dragon Quest though coming soon because, like I said, it seems like they are very much so trying to get their JRPG game up. They pretty much everything.
I couldn't name one on the Xbox One.
Yeah, well,
South Park.
That's why I don't play. Yes, South Park.
That's
why I don't play Xbox.
That's the big thing that they're trying to. Like pretty much everything they've been called out for, they are working very hard to change it, which is good. It's good for the consumer.
They have
making it more competitive.
Skyrim's that's 360.
Well, that conference they just did.
Fable's
they own Fable. Yeah,
that's the only game I would play.
Fable's
play
pretty
on
good.
360.
Yeah, that's like the best unkept secret. Like everyone's kind of knowing it's coming. They're just waiting for the confirmation of it.
Yeah.
But like that conference they showed two or three different JRPGs.
Really?
Yeah, they showed the one that looked like kind of like Bayonetta with the flower pots and the monsters and stuff.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that.
They showed there was like two other ones they showed too, but I'm not a big, so they didn't really stick with me. But they are definitely like they definitely want to dive into that Japanese market again.
The 360 had a couple.
Yeah,
I mean they had Final Fantasy, but 13 was not very good.
Well, it seems like all the Final Fantasies are starting to they're on Xbox, they're on
Switch,
PlayStation, they're on Switch. They're really starting to bring those older titles back.
Square Enix, in a way, they
used to be a one system company.
They were
did,
king
yeah.
when they were SquareSoft, and then there was another company named Enix. Then too, they were like two really great companies. Then they merged together. I don't know who merged with what. Vice versa.
Well, Square Enix is also
Square Enix is two companies. That's SquareSoft and just Enix.
But
I remember that merger.
that's Final Fantasy. Isn't Resident Evil part of them as well?
No, that's
Capcom. No, that's Capcom.
Oh, they're Capcom. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because there's different. I don't know really like Enix franchises that
They
lasted.
had Alundra and they had what's
Alundra,
Silver
then
Star? Sorry, and that's Working Designs. Never mind.
And then they had Legend of Gaia was a big one on the Super Nintendo then too, and they
Enix
actually
was
gave
like
you a fucking.
It was like the WCW. Okay.
Yeah.
So SquareSoft was WWE or WWF, and then and then like we went together now. But then when they went together, it's like we make Final Fantasy and that's it.
And Kingdom Hearts.
And now we're gonna make some shitty titles that nobody wants that suck instead of the titles you do want.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the libraries between the both of them, they can really
so much.
really
It's
go in the backlog.
Yeah.
Oh God.
With platformers getting so popular, like the Crash and the Spyro's coming back,
Banjo-Kazooie.
and tons and tons and tons of
I want to play that.
the indie game. A lot of the indie games are all side scroller platformers. I don't understand why like the Sly Coopers and the Jackson Dexters and making new Spyros and new they got to the point where they kind of burnt themselves out because they were making one every year. But now is the time to make a new one. I think they would get eaten up.
Honestly, I would definitely say they did burn themselves out a little bit on that. I really do believe that they should come out with a new Sly Cooper because that would be one big one, and that would be a big one on my wish list just to have something there.
I would like Jack and Dexter.
Oh man,
what's the other one? Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank. Sly Cooper.
Never
Ratchet and
played
Clank.
that
Rayman.
Rayman.
I never really liked those.
Yeah, Rayman's hard too.
It is. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, Ubisoft didn't even come out with that. They were like, well,
they made
Rayman, push it back, and
they
then
made
the
rabbits, and that was it.
And that one, that one for Switch is really hard.
I didn't play it yet. I have
it's
it, but
fun,
I have to play it.
Yeah, it's like a tactical shooter.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's like
I'll
an
have to try
RPG,
it.
but it's just you can get smoked sometimes.
Yeah,
because you have to build your party, and you get more people. You eventually get 4.
I'm just kind of bummed out that they just pushed Rayman to the side and never heard from him ever again. That's just
I thought they made money on him, but
the rabbits ate him.
Yeah, the rabbits.
That's how I feel about Banjo-Kazooie. That one got pushed to the side.
Nuts and
never
Bolts
came back.
was on 360.
Well,
right?
that whole company got bought out.
Rare, it's weird. Yeah,
Rare got bought by Microsoft, and then they're like,
I think Nintendo sold Rare to Microsoft, and then I think they kind of gutted,
and they kind of just fizzled.
So good though.
I think the first thing they did when Xbox acquired Rare, they said, "All right, we got to do something with it." So what they did is they made that Rare Replay, where it's like you pay $20 and get like 30 games,
all the old games.
Yeah, all the old games. Yeah,
and then they made Grab by the Ghoulies for Xbox, regular Xbox. Wasn't that great?
It's kind of like a human Banjo-Kazooie.
They redid Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is really good.
Yeah,
multiplayer that actually compared to Halo at one point.
And then they made Killer Instinct. or whatever the new one's
Yeah,
called.
Killer Instinct. Yeah.
But then everyone was kind of crapping on it because it's like, oh, we'll give you 4 people for free, but you got to buy the rest. It's like, well, can't we just buy
You can't do that to the people.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Or would you like to buy 2 characters and then buy 2 more? It's like, no, just let's one price for the game. You know,
Well, I
so-
think the game was free.
yeah, it was free. And you
free.
get 2 people, I think.
And then
Jago and
Yeah.
And they were
girl,
just
Bjork.
trying to nail people with microtransactions.
Yeah, and
it just
no one
didn't
likes
work
that.
out.
I won't play that.
like
then.
that Star Wars game.
Well, it has changed since then. I think it's just like you play it.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
And you can thank.
but then
Cap-
Rare fizzled then after that.
Yeah.
Well, no, they worked on Sea of Thieves. Is their big title right now?
Oh, that MMO.
Yeah, it's a giant pirate MMO game, which is very, very popular. I for me, when I played it at launch, and it didn't do much for me, but it's one of those games that has changed a lot since then. I know the Smars play it; they love it.
Mm-hmm.
They're hooked on it. It's like their daily game, and I know it's a really big, popular stream game as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they also, the rumor is that they're gonna It's like one of those best kept secrets too, where people kind of leaked and they're just waiting for confirmation.
Yeah.
That Perfect Dark is going to make a return.
Oh yeah, they made that. Didn't they?
And
then Goldeneye.
and Battletoads.
Battletoads. Yeah.
Well, Battletoads have been working on for a while or something.
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah. I you know.
So it's one of those things where they bought the title, they bought the franchise, but it's gonna like Xbox doesn't show you or tell you about a game.
They're trying to
until-
work. They work on it behind the scenes and
Yeah,
all that
well,
other stuff.
well, kind of going back to the Sony thing where they're like, "Hey, God of War 3," and they show you a trailer, like a cinematic trailer, and then it's like, "By the way, you're not going to see anything of this game for probably 4 or 5 years." Or Xbox is like, "Here's a game, comes out in 2 months." They kind of keep it closer to because the last time they did do that, where they
Which
said,
isn't a problem. I
Yeah.
really actually like that a lot better.
well,
with
the
games.
reason they do that is because right before Phil Spencer took over, they're like, "Here's this game. It was a dragon game. I forget the name of it, but it was like a JRPG style dragon game, and it was supposed to look like Final Fantasy. And everybody was like, "This game's going to be fantastic." And they talked about it, and then the team fell out, and the game never happened. And it was like to the point where like you show it's like. Where you show a game and it's like, well, this game's 3 years out, and you get people hyped on it, and then it never happens, and you're already behind the 8 ball because your system doesn't have games. It was just a huge disaster for Xbox. So they wait until the game is like ready to go before they show anything, which I think I kind of dig that more. I don't want to like don't blue ball me for 5 years on a game. You know what I mean? Like because everybody's hyped over like Spider-Man did really well. God of War did really well. Last of Us did really well. But like that zombie game, that was like it was hyped like crazy, and then people played it and they're like, it's broken.
Oh, there was
Days
that other
Gone.
one that
Yeah.
Days
I was
Gone.
like,
Yeah.
1787 was
I was like-
hyped up really bad.
Oh, The Order, and that sucked.
Yeah.
It was more watching movies and stuff.
Yeah.
It could have been great. Like if they would have made it Gears of War, but you fight monsters, I'm in. That's like kind of what the sales pitch was.
I would like to see them. I'd like to see going back to Sony. I'd like to see them bring back Resistance.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they made one of them in a while. Yeah,
Oh,
They
no.
they
I
made
think
2 and it died out.
I never got into that. Or
I thought they
Killzone.
stopped at like 3.
Bring Killzone back.
That too. That was like a trilogy game too, like trilogy set game.
They
Now you
tried to
bring
they
them
tried
up,
to
yeah.
they tried to revamp it for PS4. It was like a PS4 launch, and it wasn't great.
Oh.
It was downloadable only or something. Or,
It was yeah, I don't know. And then
I
like
forget.
Infamous, they let that title go. They let Mod Nation Racers go. They let Twisted Metal. You haven't had Twisted Metal in forever. You haven't had
They have to
Little
bring
Big
some
Planet.
of those. Yeah,
Little Big Planet was huge.
Yeah, even people making the levels and all that, like they're creative.
Little Big Planet was their version of Mario Maker,
Yeah, and like
and like Mod Nation Racer was their version of Mario Kart.
And the thing is, with Animal Crossing New Horizons, how people are making their own islands and
Yeah.
all too. Hey, fucking give a new Little Big Planet game.
Yeah, I
Hey,
think
why
they do
not?
well.
And make it like Little Big Universe, or call it like the sequel to it, and then have people just mishmash shit together.
I thought
try it
Infamous.
out.
I thought Infamous was a home run. That game was awesome. Where you were a superhero, but you were not one that you normally know. Like it was like you were your own thing.
Yeah,
It was such a good
The
game.
new one was pretty good. Cole? No, he wasn't Cole. It was another guy. It was a guy, and he could spray paint stuff, and you turn the controller sideways, and you
Yep.
shake the controller.
Oh, wow.
and when you shake the controller, the thing would make the sound of the spray paint.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you push the button like at the top and go. And
Yeah.
you draw. I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they had the girl that had the neon powers then, an expansion for Dying
It was
Light,
fun.
First
It was a
Light, or
fun
something
game.
like that.
So I want to kind of you just sparked something with the MMOs that I was kind of interested in then too. Sega released Phantasy Star Online 2, I think, on the computer. They just revamped it, and that was really a big game back in the day where that was like a definitive MMO, and I would hope that Sega would continue to do,
There's a Fantasy
brand
Star on
new one.
Xbox right now.
Yeah, if it's Fantasy Star Online 2, that's definitely it, and that was a fun one. That lasted oh yeah, that was
I started on the Dreamcast.
yeah, that was a fun one.
There was,
I really
there was
wanted
a
to play
Fantasy
that.
Star on GameCube as well.
Yeah, they
ported
ported Fantasy Star Online over to that.
And that's a beloved Sega franchise too. They have to drum something up
It's
there.
weird.
If they
What's
wanna
a
do
single
like
player
a-
RPG that was Fantasy Star 1 through 4 in Genesis, and then went to the online MMO.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, people were nutty about that. I remember that in '99.
Sega was supposed to have their own conference at E3 this year. Like they
They
had
were
that. They had that. So here's the thing that's crazy, man. And I'm excited for just not only just Xbox's conference, but also PlayStation's. And then like a lot of developers are like, man, do we just jump on the Xbox PlayStation one, or now that what's going on, we can just release our own stuff? Like Ubisoft says they have a shit ton. EA Sports says they have a shit ton. Rocksteady, there's developers who were like ones who only showed their games on the Xbox or PlayStation platforms, and now they're at the point where they're like, no, we kind of want to do our own conference.
And that's a smart
And sell
thing
it?
for them to do.
Huh?
Like sell it to whatever system wants to buy it.
No. Like they want to be the ones to present their game. Like when Batman Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, that would be like. It would be like Xbox coming soon, and it would show the trailer for Batman Arkham City. Where now Rocksteady's like, well, we have Batman and possibly something else, so we want to show it on our own stage now.
So like pretty much saying like instead of going to either Sony's press conference or Xbox's or Microsoft's where Microsoft would showcase one and you have to watch the whole entire show, they're saying, hey, we have a separate one that's probably going to be about like an hour clip out of your life.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah.
That's a very smart thing for them to do.
Ubisoft said they have a huge conference. Well, I mean, they Assassin's Creed is probably the most anticipated game besides probably Cyberpunk, and then they also have Watch Dogs Legions that's coming out, which is going to be a big hit for them.
Yeah, and Sega was supposed to actually release some
Sega
news too.
said they were going to have their own conference.
Yeah, that was the big big
like,
thing.
what were they really having in the
You'd be very
in their
surprised.
chamber
I mean,
rather than Sonic?
I mean, look at it this way. Like, look at the
Seaman too.
Look at it this way.
What if they did like another Crazy Taxi?
Yeah, they
wow.
only made one.
Yeah.
Look at the Intellivision came back. The Coleco Intellivision came back.
Yeah, but I mean, they
I
didn't
know
really-
it's.
And
But still,
there's rumors.
I don't
that
think Sega's gonna make a system because it's just too crowded. 4 systems.
they won't
come on.
make a system. I don't think. I think Sega's out of the system game. I think they're very convinced. I think they're very content just being a game developing company because it's doing very well for them, and just kind of merging their characters over in the Nintendo universe and then the Xbox universe and the PlayStation universe.
I don't know,
But there's talks that Sega might be in the Mini system again. So they did their Sega Mini, and it was very, very well received. So there's rumors that they might dive into that again, where they may
the Sega Saturn or the Dreamcast.
yeah.
But the problem with that is the emulation
Yeah, because it's CD.
because it's CD based. That's the only problem.
Raspberry Pis.
But they only go up to like PlayStation 1, and then they struggle after that.
Yeah, because it's the way that they encrypt everything.
But you have to realize
and
too,
made it,
a lot of people who are doing the encodings and doing those Raspberry Pis
I mean, we'll get better.
are not the people who actually made the game. So
Right.
if you're making the game and you can put it on something that can handle it, you're not putting the whole library on there, but you're only putting like a certain maybe 20 to 30 games where it's going to run well. I mean,
Never say
I'm
never,
not dumping on
man.
Sony again, but did you try this? Did you see the Sony?
I didn't even bother with it.
Oh, that PlayStation. Yeah,
Awful.
Yeah.
It was
Even
bad.
the Genesis one.
Do you
They
know
said
what's-
had some
do you know what's
problems.
even-
The best one was the Nintendo ones.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
You know what's even cheaper? Buy an original PlayStation for $10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
buying the
then getting-
games, and they run better.
I'm not kidding you.
Well, they sold it with the original controller, and two of the game, like half the games that were on that list, all ran with the DualShock.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was rough. It was
That-
really rough.
They just
Yeah, that was
fucking
a-
slapped that
that was a
together.
bomb.
Wow.
It looked awesome.
I want to get the
The little mini,
TurboGrafx
yeah,
one.
they just slapped it together. Just
Yeah.
I thought about buying the
Production
TurboGrafx one,
wise.
TurboGrafx 16. I was like, I don't know. I have to watch some videos on it.
Yeah. So
But
and
everyone
then
wants
Nintendo.
that mini 64.
And
Yeah.
I think I was telling Tony about it then too, about Sega and TurboGrafx or the NEC TurboGrafx
Yeah.
16. Only reason why Sega was really big in the States was because they were ahead of their shipment of Genesis and Master System games were ahead of the boat with TurboGrafx, and then that's why it fell in obscurity.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
fun.
This year is going to be could be fucking awesome for when it comes to video games. I'm
Maybe
pumped.
they'll do. I'm sorry.
That's all
Maybe they'll do something like the Switch. Sega.
A handheld.
I would say not to do that too, because I mean that's how do you beat that?
I
How
don't
do
think you can,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean they wouldn't try.
Yeah.
I'm just
I would
saying.
just if I was Sega,
That
I would
make
just be
games.
like, dude,
Yeah.
we're making a shit ton of just making games.
I would stay in the game voting too, but you never know what they try.
Unless
Yeah.
like somebody else joined them, or like 3 joined to make a system. Let's say it was Sega and Atari and TurboGrafx.
Neo Geo or-
yeah, they all came together like we're gonna make systems.
So
Like,
Sega is-
now. But,
Realistically,
it's still a crowded market though.
Realistically,
It is.
if you went and you snatched up all of these
mini people,
mini titles who are just making these side scroller games that play amazing on the Switch, and you make a Sega, like, listen, I love my Switch, but I'm going to be completely candid. One of my biggest disappointments right now with this system is this Joy-Con drift.
they fix it for you.
They do, but like
right now.
it's not a red ring of death, but it's pretty close, because if you like, I have to always play my system docked with the Pro controller.
Oh, that's how
There's
how
some
I prefer it.
There's some times where I want to sit on my couch and watch TV and play my Switch, and I'm like, fucking well, like I gotta keep, like, I just gotta deal with
But
the
at
drift.
least like if you got a new controller, it'd be okay.
But I'm not gonna go out, like, even people who are like, I know I have a friend who went out and bought another Joy-Con,
Yeah.
and that Joy-Con
Really?
is doing it too. Like,
See, mine are fine.
it's a
I even took mine apart and put it back together and put my shell on it.
yeah, you
Like
might
if it's-
you got a lucky one, because it's a
And
big
I got
problem.
those colored ones, the pink and green, and they're fine.
And you really
Yeah.
gotta watch with the tech too. I don't know what really goes into the Joy-Cons, Andy, because you took
Yeah.
yours apart.
It's very tedious. The one's more
but
tedious
you really
than the other.
gotta really gotta watch.
Mine's crazy too, because
This one because it has that sensor thing.
sometimes mine doesn't drift until I start using the D-pad.
Oh, if you
Oh,
use the
something's
D-pad.
loose in there. Yeah,
Oh.
one of the wires in the connectors is loose, and that's why it's not.
So what I try doing is sometimes, like, if I'm playing Animal Crossings and I have to go through my inventory, I'll try to start with my D-pad and not touch my Joy-Con because it's not drifting. So I try to go through all my menus with the D-pad, and then I hit my D-pad, and then I like hit up, and then once I start like messing with the D-pad, it's just flying through my menus.
Maybe just don't touch the D-pad then. Maybe
Yeah.
just use this.
Yeah, but I mean, if I-
analog
It might
stick.
sound like it's just like
if
it
I
sounds
paid
like
all
a
that money
wiring,
if I paid all that money for the system, like, it just annoys me that it's broken. Like,
that's
it
like
bothers
the,
me.
That's like the
It's just
virtual
a
boy.
glitch. It's just a glitch. I have
Our-
directions on my phone. I could show you then when we're done on
Okay.
how to fix it. Yeah, I saved
Yeah,
it.
I even tried doing the calibration thing, and
Oh,
it was
wow.
just
I think you have a bum Joy-Con. That's all
it
it is.
just frustrates me. But yeah, but it's a problem with a lot of people with Switches right
Yeah,
now.
and the other thing
Yeah,
that sucks
mine did
is the
too.
battery life is awful.
They said the newer one is better.
Older ones, the
Yeah.
newer ones are better because
Not the one you have.
You get the red box
Yeah,
ones or
the
the Switch
new-
Lite or
yeah.
the Switch Lights. That's what you
Yeah.
want to go for.
The
'cause
Switch
they have
Lite
about 5
and
or
then the-
6 hours battery
Yeah.
life.
The Switch Lite and then the one that came after the Switch Lite. There's
Yeah,
like
it's one in a completely red box. That's the one that you want to buy, not
then-
the one that was like the old style. It's very easy.
And
to
then my luck is I'll go
see.
buy the newer Switch, and then they'll be like, "Oh, remember that Pro Switch we said's not happening? Here it is, like Switch Pro." And I'm
That-
like, "You son of a bitch!"
Nintendo should just stop doing that. I'm sorry.
I don't know how much we got to go over. We do have a couple minutes here. What are we playing? What are we watching? Just give us like maybe one thing you're playing, one thing you're watching, so we don't, like, if you have like 15 things, then we'll hold off. You can save something for next week because we are running a little longer here. But we'll start with Bree today.
Oh, so I'm still playing Animal Crossing, and I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Still watching Glee and Community, but I will be starting Space Force this week.
I watched like 15-20 minutes of the first episode of Space Force. It's funny.
Yeah,
I
it's
heard
pretty
that.
good. It's pretty good.
I'm
I'm
looking
even
forward to
watching that too.
Yeah.
We're gonna try and nip it in the bud with what we're watching.
Like combining.
Combining. Yeah. So
Um,
I've
well-
been watching that.
Well,
But
Animal
the first
Crossing.
episode.
We have the wedding coming up.
Yes, I've been doing it every day. It started June 1st.
Oh, it already started.
Yep, it's for the whole month of June.
And what do you have to do?
So you go to Harv's Island and you celebrate the anniversary with Cyrus and I'm blanking on her name right now.
The two llamas.
Yeah, they're alpacas.
Oh, alpacas. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Just in case people are weird, they're going to tell you that. Why am I forgetting her name right now? She's so cute. But anyway, so you go in. She gives you a different theme every day. And then Cyrus, he will give you furniture he put together for it. You have to use all the furniture he gives you. And then plus you will get to use all of your catalog that you've collected in the game so far, as long as it matches the theme. I mean, if you don't want to match the theme, that's fine. But you just won't really get all the little heart tokens you can get. And then you turn those heart tokens in for the furniture that Cyrus makes, and then you will be able to take it and buy it and put it into your island for decoration, put it into your home.
That's cool.
And it's seasonal. It's really cute. It's just something, and it's something you could do different every day.
Yeah. I think we talked about it a couple shows back where they said there may be some delays with some holiday events because of what's going on. I think a lot of developers they said there might be some delays, but so this is the one we have now.
I actually read that they have enough things done for 2 to 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read
cool.
so that might not be true.
And
I guess
Japan,
we'll find out.
the state of emergency has been lifted, so it's kind of getting back to normal.
Cool.
Japan.
That's good. That's good. That'll
yeah.
help. That'll help with some stuff. And then at the beginning of the month we have our new bugs and fish and stuff on the island. So
Sharks. Sharks are the big seller.
Yeah. So if you're maybe took a break because you were kind of bored and had maybe nothing to do, well, now you can jump back in and there's a whole bunch more stuff you can catch now. Dude, there's fireflies everywhere.
Yeah.
Lightning bugs, I call them, but yeah,
I call them
fireflies.
lightning bugs too.
I've been doing a lot more fishing, and it's really nice that they have like the actual fins on for the sharks. Because you can identify those really easily. So like,
So
there's
it's
no
swimming around.
The only
It's a shark.
the only
It's a
crapper-
rock.
Yeah. Sharks and there's like eels. So there's like
Yeah.
longer stringy fish.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So there's no crap. The only crapper is the sucker. The sucker fish is the
Yeah.
only crapper. But other than that, most of the time you're going to get a whale shark, a great white, a
A
hammerhead, or a sod nose.
I need the whale shark. That's the only one I need. I caught a lot of the sharks when when the game first came out, my brother didn't know that he was in the Southern Hemisphere, and he started this game and made himself Southern Hemisphere. We used to go to his island and fish, and we got a lot. So I have a lot of the Southern Hemisphere stuff done already.
Yeah.
I'm very close to being done the fish and the bugs because I got a lot from his island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like now with I do even more river fishing now than too with the arowana and arpaima. It's like a
like
really
that.
long river fish.
Yeah.
And they're really bitchin' looking. So I really like those.
I threw about
River monsters.
65 fish baits into the river, and I didn't get one very large.
I would try
A whole lot of river bass.
I would do mouth of the river into the ocean because that's where I was getting most of mine.
I don't have a mouth of the river into the ocean.
You don't have
We'll
the
make
rivers.
one.
We'll have to
We'll make
fix
one.
that.
Yeah.
We have to fix that.
I
There's
make
also
one.
Doritos.
My river's on the second top of my
If it doesn't go into the ocean,
No, I don't
it
have.
just ends.
He
Yeah,
terraformed.
I terraformed and got rid of my river on my bottom level.
Oh, so you have no river at all?
I have a river on my top.
Yeah, but where does it go then?
It's a river up there.
Yeah, but
It just sits.
does it not go into the
I think
ocean?
I
No.
think he made
It
it like in
doesn't go
one.
with
it just-
science.
It just goes like, and then
So
like,
it's a river. It's a river pond.
It's a landlocked river.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
landlocked river. It really
It
is.
does not go with science at all.
Yeah. It used to, and then I cut it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Logic.
There's also Doritos, and then there's something called
Doritos.
Yeah.
That's what Mark says too, and I'm like, no, it is not a Dorito.
I caught the Cool Ranch.
Yeah. Ugh.
And then there's something called I can't pronounce it correctly, like sriracha something.
Come on now, sriracha Doritos.
I didn't name these fish guys.
No, they're
it's-
actually legitimate fish.
I-
Yeah, can
I
you
think she
pronounce
was.
it?
let's
S
see.
something and then B something.
I know exactly which one that you're
You know what
talking
I'm
about
talking
too.
about.
Hang
You
on, I
pronounce
have
it.
to.
I can't pronounce
flounder.
Saddle. It's a saddled birchier.
There it is.
Oh, God.
So no sriracha at all. Sorry, everybody.
So that's what the fish
Maybe I'm
looks like.
hungry.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Let me see what that one.
it looks terrifying. It looks like a fucking dinosaur.
Oh, I like
Now,
it.
do they make room in the museum for all these new fish?
Yep.
Yeah,
do.
Yep.
and you can actually catch piranhas now too.
Did you see-
I cannot get them.
Did you
Can't.
see PETA is protesting
Yes.
the game again?
I'm so mad about it. I'm so
Yeah.
mad about PETA. They need to get a life. Like,
Animals
seriously,
live on
get
the
a life.
island.
They're empty the tanks. They want
Oh,
you to
God.
empty your tanks in your museums.
Is
Yes,
that even an option?
No.
No.
Well,
Nope.
if you want to delete your whole island,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they want they PETA. If you go on PETA's
He needs
website,
to
they
get
can
a
teach
life.
you how to play the game vegan and animal friendly.
So what would you do then? Just eat fruit?
You would pretty much play with just flowers.
You're so
You wouldn't catch
ridiculous.
That's
don't catch bugs, don't
Yeah.
catch fish.
But it's
Oh my
the whole
God.
thing's fake. Like don't they?
Yeah.
don't they
It's a
understand?
video
It's
game.
a game.
It's a wholesome.
No one is getting
peaceful,
Would you rather-
happy
Would you
video
rather?
game?
Would you rather endanger the species in real life, or would you rather catch it digitally?
Yeah.
I mean, it's no fucking brainer.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you catch the fish or don't, nothing changes in the rules.
They
No.
must be real bored in their
Them
life.
PETA people are out of their minds.
Yeah.
That's when you're so far left wing, you're nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Just- and you can be
every
so far
every
right wing and be nuts,
movement
too.
has that one group that just takes your whole movement
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It's like well, yes, we want animal rights, but you're protesting a video game?
Yeah,
Come on now.
A wholesome,
Yeah,
happy,
one of the games
peaceful
like you
video
could give
game.
to any kid and not have to worry at
Yeah.
all.
No violence.
That's ridiculous.
I mean,
nothing.
there's a lot of drinking in the game. Everyone's
Yeah,
drunk
Tom-
off their
Tom
ass in
Nook's
that
drunk.
game.
Especially
Drunk all
Tom
day.
Nook.
Tom, and what's her name's pounding mixed drinks all day long.
It's like
Tom Nook and Isabel. Partying
And then
in that office.
and then your villager Ken is drinking fucking not your father's orange sodas,
I know.
hard sodas,
Everyone's
and then
smashing
and
the
then Kabuki's drinking his fucking sake beer and all.
That's right.
I told him to
Japanese
drink IPAs. He's
stereotype.
like, I want to drink IPAs
My
or like
island
triple
wasn't good enough.
IPAs.
Ken had to go join Kabuki on Ben's island.
yeah, yeah. I kicked Ken off my island too.
I didn't kick Ken off. Eunice kicked Ken off. Stupid Eunice. She's going.
I kicked him off.
I
Done
brought
with
him
Eunice.
in. He's
There's
pretty
only
cool.
there's only one cock on my island, and that's me.
I
my
think
God.
you should be able to make an animal character.
I
rather
really
than a human.
think they should make a real custom. Like they should
You
do
could
like
put
custom
costumes on.
villagers.
Yeah, you can be a teddy bear. Mark was.
I
for
mean
a
that's
little
cool,
bit.
but like why can't
I'm a luchador.
why can't you just be an animal?
I'm a
Because all the
sailor.
animals wear clothes too.
Yeah.
I'm a Sailor Scout today.
Yeah, that's their scout stuff looks cool. I want to do that.
Oh, here's a quick little thing. I know we don't have Steve here to talk about it, but we kind of have a little Animal Crossing story amongst our group. So
We do.
Steve's daughter, I don't know what age she just turned, but
8. I'm
8.
pretty sure.
Yeah, so she was supposed to have a birthday party with all of her friends, and we weren't able to do it with the coronavirus going on, and kind of ruined her birthday a little bit. She wasn't able to have her friends over and have a good time. So we had an Animal Crossing birthday party for her. So
did.
we all joined her island, and we brought gifts and we hung out.
That's nice.
And I made a joke, but I wasn't really joking. I said, we were all like, what are we going to give her for gifts? Like, what is she into? What does she like? So we're all getting our gifts together and stuff. And I was like, I don't really have much, but I can give her $1 million. And I put the Dr. Evil, and he's like, everyone laughed. And then I went to her island, and I dropped them all on the ground, and she comes walking over, and she does like the shocked face, like with her character. And then I was like, and I put in the group chat, and he goes, what happened? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, my daughter's freaking out. And I said, I gave her $1 million. He goes, oh my God. Like, yeah, but she was super happy.
I was kind of bummed I didn't get to join that because I was at I was working from home
Yeah.
when I did that. So
You could have done it.
no, they were watching.
You're on webcam?
No,
Somebody standing there.
no,
back
they
to
just
work.
know.
Get back
They
to
just
work,
know.
you.
How do they know?
They know.
No, they don't.
They know.
Do they have wires in your house?
Do
The
they have?
computer, dude.
Are you on webcam?
A pin. What I do?
No, he's saying if he stopped using the computer, if he doesn't know that he's necessarily playing the Switch, they stop doing what he should be doing.
Yeah.
At least like if they monitor like phone calls, like I'm answering phone calls because there's
Yeah.
more.
And
of
so
an
if he doesn't,
overflow.
if he's not
Yeah.
doing his job for like half an hour, is what he's saying.
yeah.
You
At least I'm doing stuff in the meantime.
You can still play.
Yeah.
You can still play your game. You can
I mean,
still play
that's
your game
nice.
on the phone.
But still though, like I was kind of bummed out about that. But a lot more people are doing that now. They're doing like meetings through Animal Crossing, and somebody posted a tweet about. We had our business meetings on Red Dead Redemption, and it's like, and they're like,
awesome.
and they're like, fuck Zoom, it sucks. We'd rather be at Red Dead Redemption, talk about the meeting, and be at night, watch the sunset, and hear wolves howling, talking about business.
I actually
that's wild.
I re-downloaded
That's
Red Dead
crazy.
Redemption because I've never played the new one, Red Dead Redemption Online. The first Red Dead Redemption Online was fucking
Well,
awesome.
there's an online.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not for me.
So you remember GTA Online is literally just like you have to do these missions and play these mini games. It's
Yeah.
pretty much mostly that. Red Dead Redemption Online, you can literally go and you can collect flowers, you can go hunt certain animals. Like there's a whole like
Is it like an MMO? Pretty
yeah,
much?
the first one was like that. I don't know
Yeah.
what it's like for the new one. Like you can go walk into a town and it could be filled with MMOs and like people
Yeah.
are playing on poker tables and like it's from what I heard it's crazy.
That's awesome.
So I want to
never-
dive in and
should
try
I-
it.
Yeah,
I never played
I would
two.
be interested in two.
Part 2 was so good. Oh, the story was so fantastic.
I don't want to finish it. I didn't finish it.
Yeah, Mark
I
didn't
don't-
either.
I don't want to finish it.
Well,
Spoiler alert: Arthur dies.
Yeah, if you
I
haven't-
don't want
and then-
Arthur
and
to
you get
die.
to be an Ur guy. I know that.
Yeah. Will you take over as
John Marston.
John Marston?
Oh,
who,
do ya?
who's
Yeah.
'cause, so Red Dead? Well, it's not really Red Dead 2. This
is
is
a precursor to.
yeah. So this
A
game takes
prequel.
this
Prequel,
game
yeah.
takes place before Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when the game ends, you take over as Arthur. I mean,
John
sorry,
Marston.
you take over as John Morrison, and then John Morrison. Yeah, and then
From The
when
Doors?
yeah, no, from wrestling, Johnny
John-
Morrison. Yeah,
I like him. He's one of my faves.
You do moonsaults off corkscrews and stuff. Yeah, and then at the end of part 1, you take over as his son because John dies in the first one. Yeah, very very good game. Arthur, you end up catching TB.
Yeah, that's what kills him. Yeah.
Oh, the door singer is what? Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm
Yeah,
having a day today.
Andy,
Don't mind me.
what are you
sorry.
even into?
Octopath Traveler to the Switch. So I beat Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then I beat Final Fantasy VII, the old one. And
How many hours did you put in?
85.
Wow.
Yeah.
You nut.
It's really good. I couldn't beat the two weapons.
Nut.
The two weapons are so hard I couldn't beat him cheating. I said, I'm not doing this. There's like these two bosses they added. They're like super hard.
Yeah,
And
they're like kind
I
of.
watched
like
the
side
video
missions.
of what you have to do to beat it. I go, I ain't doing all that. I put in there 80 hours in to beat two bosses. And then when I beat them and get the material, like, okay, well, what am I gonna do now? Yeah, I got it.
Then you can say that you did
Yeah,
everything.
I was like, nah, I ain't
You
doing
frick,
that.
yeah.
I ain't doing that. So I went
Yeah,
right.
frick yeah.
I went right to Octopath Traveler, and it's really good. It's like one of
a
the
good
best
game.
RPGs. It's well thought out. It's a JRPG, so it's turn based, but like. Some characters have like they can use a sword or a bow, and or a staff and a sword, and like the magic, and you boost your attacks and get stronger. And then you can start as one of the 8 characters. I picked one of the worst ones to start with because it's hard. But then it's really fun, and the graphics are really cool. How it's like it's like a 16-bit, like super 16-bit, and then there's voices in it too, which I did not know.
oh wow.
Yeah, it's not full voices, like, but there's
Some
voices,
voices.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really
which one
good.
was this? The original Final Fantasy.
no Octopath Traveler.
Oh, Octopath Travel. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's very
It's
good.
really cute.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't get the transition. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now,
No,
now I know how
sorry.
everybody feels when I talk about
Yeah.
shit. Okay.
No. Octopath Traveler for the Switch. It's only you can download on Steam too for the computer. But,
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think it got like 9s and 10s for
Yeah, it's
scores.
It did, yeah.
They said that was it was kind of
all-
a
it's a little-
sleeper hit.
A little hard,
in a way.
so you gotta level
It's
up,
hard.
especially
It's
when you
very
pick
hard.
a caster to start as. I was like, I would
Oh,
get
yeah.
one level, go back, save because I was dying because it was like level 1. I get a level, go back, save, come back, get a level, go back, save, and then if I would have picked the Hunter girl Hannah, who's the best character,
That's
I
what
would have been all
picked.
right.
Yeah, that's what I picked.
Once I had 2
but-
characters, I was all right, and the game wasn't real hard anymore.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then I watched Harley Quinn, and I thought it was really good. The movie.
Oh,
The movie,
I was gonna
yeah.
say,
Yeah,
not the cartoon, not yet.
I watched a few of those randomly. Sci-fi plays them.
Mhm.
Actually, I found out.
yeah, they're on stuff. I'm waiting for the
Are
Blu-ray,
they
which I think
are they
is coming
not?
out soon.
They're censored though, right?
No,
They're not.
no.
Wow.
I mean, I was watching it late at night though, so
Oh,
maybe
it
that's
might
why.
be-
All the f bombs and everything.
Oh yeah,
It might
Wow.
be. It might be after 12 or 11. You know how Comedy Central
Like
used to do
prime
that.
time.
Oh
Like
yeah,
prime
yeah,
time,
yeah.
I was
They could
definitely
do that.
watching it after midnight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I want to watch it. But the movie's very good.
Yeah, because Comedy Central used to do like a secret stash. It was all uncensored, no holds barred.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
So
fun stuff.
I mean, it wasn't.
how attractive
Endgame.
is Black Canary?
I think she's really hot. You know who I think was less hot in this? Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I thought she just looked. I know she's supposed to be like she's down on
She
her luck.
listen. She's so super
I
attractive.
mean, she's a hot woman
she's
in
but
real
the
life.
girl who plays Black Canary overshadows her so much.
I think in that because they're making Harley look worse than that in this
yeah,
one
because
And
she's like disheveled.
very white. Like she's white all over, like comic Harley, which I'm okay with. but
Yeah.
I didn't like her outfits. Her outfits were horrible. They're absolutely horrible.
I don't like her line at Hot Topic. Usually, this is like a sidebar. I usually like all the Hot Topic lines
Yeah.
they do for their movies. I did not like any.
The
of
one
them
scene
this
she's wearing
time.
like a boot and a heel, like she's wearing 2 different shoes in the one
yeah,
scene.
and
Yeah,
she
Oh,
wants
that's
like a
weird.
dirty T-shirt and then like
She's
one's
just-
like
yeah.
ripped the caution tape. I'm like, you get your shit together, Harley. Get your red black outfit, not the jester one, but her
she's
red
like
black.
a tutu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or just I don't know, just some
Something.
clothes as long as they're red and black.
the fight scenes are fantastic.
yeah, the fight scenes are good. I liked Huntress was really good in it. And Ramona Flowers.
Black
I like
Mask.
the Huntress.
Yeah.
Black Mask was
Black
fantastic.
Mask. Ewan McGregor, he was a good character. I thought the
Oh,
movie was
Ewan
great.
McGregor's in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he plays
Mask.
Black.
Oh
He
my
plays
God,
Black.
I
I didn't
love
know
him.
that until I looked on the internet. And I was
I
like,
had
who
no
is that? I'm
idea
like,
he was in this
it's
movie.
Ewan McGregor.
So it's so good.
You mean General Kenobi?
Yeah.
Does it-
Oh,
Or no,
I always call him General Kenobi.
oh yeah, that's what General. Yeah.
Does
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
How
no, we
is it close to Wonder Woman for you as a DC movie?
No, it's not that good. Wonder Woman is probably like a 9.5. This would be like
I don't think anything tops Wonder Woman
like
in
a,
DC.
like
I
a,
don't
like
know,
a,
man. I
this
really
would be
like
like
this.
a 7.5 or an 8.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
So this was
I mean, it's
this was
good.
more
It's
of
very
like
good. But it's
all
not,
right.
it's not Wonder Woman.
I'll be
It's-
controversial.
Nothing's Wonder
I'll be
Woman.
It's not
Sorry.
Endgame.
Nothing's Wonder
Let's be
Woman.
controversial.
It's not Avengers 1.
maybe it's not
It's
controversial.
not Dark Knight.
Yeah, Marvel's way better.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean,
sorry.
you know, but it's good. It's
Marvel
very
was
good.
my
Whoa.
thing.
So,
Pump the brakes.
so 7.58 I give it out of 10.
Oh wait,
Harley
wait,
Harley
what
or
was
Deadpool
that?
1.
The Harley Quinn movie?
Yeah, what'd you rate
I
it?
give it 7.5 or an 8.
Oh,
out of
okay.
10.
Yeah.
Okay,
The Harley or Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 1.
See, I would go Harley.
No, see.
I didn't see it yet, but I don't think anything tops Deadpool,
Deadpool 1,
comedy wise.
Deadpool 1's very good.
I mean, Thor Ragnarok's pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Thor's funnier.
I would say
I don't know.
I'm not just.
That's-
saying
I have to
it.
think about- I have
Is
to
it like
think about that
more of a
statement.
wholesome humor or more of a dirty humor?
I'm just.
What's that?
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
for-
two different
for
styles of
Thor.
humor.
Yeah,
humor.
two different types.
That's
of
why I
humor. Never
compared
mind.
Harley and Deadpool because they're both very like.
Yeah,
I see.
similar.
Yeah, you
yeah.
can't compare.
I mean, I really like Harley, but I think I picked Deadpool 1's the better.
No, this is just I didn't watch the Harley movie,
I
but
didn't
just
see it
saying
yet
like
either. I'd like
how Deadpool 1 was just literally just like it was just seamless, like it just kept
It is.
like it
It
was just
is.
consistent throughout. I again, it's just totally one sided for me on this. I would like to watch the Harley movie just because to compare it, but Deadpool 1 had that seamless, and you kind of knew what you were getting yourself into, and it hit all those points.
It did.
Like, it hit all those spots that Deadpool is well recognized for.
Yeah.
And that's really the reason why people are like, wow, this is a great freaking movie.
I wouldn't say that like Deadpool is it's a fantastic. It did come first. It did set the bar. But I honestly like Harley is. I was just as entertained, if not more, or on the same level as I was with Deadpool. Like
That's good.
And the cool thing with Harley, like for me, is for how awesome Harley was. I thought every character in the movie was so good. Like you know how like Deadpool kind of outshines everybody.
He does.
And then like, oh well, I kind of like the taxi cab driver because him and Deadpool's interactions, like
They're-
where
yeah, they're
Deadpool kind
funny.
of brings the best out of everyone in the
He
scene.
does. Yeah.
Even when
He's good with
Harley's
that.
not in the scene, the other characters shine very well in the Harley Quinn movie. Like Black Mask shines, Victor Zsasz shines, Black Canary shines. Like every character was like. There was a character for everybody in it. You know what I mean? Like I thought, like the thief was awesome in it. Like the little girl thief.
Yeah, Cassandra Cain.
Yeah, Cassandra Cain was awesome. The Huntress was fantastic.
I like her.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it was. That's where I really gave a lot of kudos to the Harley Quinn movie because going into it, you're like, oh, this is gonna be just Harley. You know what I mean? But then at the end of it, you're like, even if you hated Harley,
I
there's
don't know
another
how you could.
there's another character at the not hated, but even if you were like, I came into this a Harley fan, but by the end of it, like. There's not one person in that movie that you could put in their own movie now that I would go like if they made a
good.
if they made a Black Canary movie I'd watch it.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I hope
that's
so.
nice.
Yeah.
So it
They're all
just
good
it definitely
characters.
opened the door, and I thought it like for being a predominantly female cast, I thought it was fantastic.
That's
And I
good.
Yeah.
And
And-
realistically,
I hope so.
like even with like Harley Quinn, like over the years being one of the more newer characters, like
Yeah.
because with the '90s, she really made some leaps and strides into the comic book world, and realistically, I think she's one of the she's really a pivot in the right direction when it comes.
There's
to
not many characters
strong
that
female
have came
characters.
out since like the golden or silver age that has had
In the past 20 years.
that
I'd
has
say,
had
yeah.
an effect like Harley has.
Yeah. Probably the most successful.
I like that they took her from being somebody who was abused to somebody who's more empowered now, and I think that's a really important message.
Yeah. And
especially to comic book fans.
And she finally gets over that when she's in the bar and she's
Yeah.
all drunk and she's like, whoa.
Yep. That's
So
the
I
thing
think
too.
that's
I
important.
always love when they did the Suicide Squad movie and everyone was like, and this is another reason why I wish they would have stuck with the
I'll be right
Suicide
back,
Squad
too.
movie, like
peek.
the original version, because I couldn't stand when people put like I love the Joker, like right,
Yeah, he's
and
like a bad
and I
guy.
love Harley, but like. When
Not
people
good
put
relationship.
online relationship goals and they put Harley and
Oh, it
Joker, it's
pisses
like
me off.
it's like, do you even know anything?
No, they don't.
Like
pisses me
he
right
beats
off.
the shit
Don't
out of her.
start.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Don't
Like
get me started on
And,
that.
and it's mentally abusive, too.
yeah.
Very unhealthy.
It's
Yeah,
like-
he was horrible. And then
Very
people were like
abusive, very
relationship
unhealthy.
goals. Like, no, it's not. That's not relationship goals.
Okay. Let's
No,
see.
no,
Like
do
even-
not want that relationship. Never get a relationship like that.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Like
Go
even
kill this person, Harley.
like even in the cartoon, they did that
He would always slap her and
amazingly
stuff,
in the
yeah.
cartoon. Like if I'm not, he's pretty much right in the wall. But like he turns his back on her. Mm-hmm. She does her thing. Mm-hmm. Then she falls for him again. And then she's like, "Oh my God, we're back!" And then he just fucks her over again.
Yeah.
Like he just like, and she's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Classic
I don't
abusive
know if she ever.
relationship.
I have to watch the cartoon, the Batman one. I don't know if she ever leaves. Maybe at the end she does, in, like the 5th season. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think
remember.
she does.
As a kid, I don't.
I don't think she does
remember.
either. I think
Yeah.
he just keeps like. She's like, "Oh, you could ride this Harley all night long," and he's like, "Ew," and he walks away from her. Like, just he's horrible to her, terrible.
The movie is good. I think it should have been called Harley Quinn from the beginning,
Yeah.
not Birds of Prey, because
Yeah.
that was just bad for business and
Yep.
everything. I think that hurt it too.
I think I kind of understand why they did it, though, because I think for how much effort they put into making every character shine, they
Yeah.
wanted to make it Birds of Prey because it was like
But I mean, it's
The other ladies, maybe.
Yeah,
Harley's the main character.
She is,
so, I mean,
100%,
it's like,
yeah.
You know, it's like if they would have called the X-Men movie Wolverine, I'm like, okay.
yeah.
You know.
Um,
And she even had her beaver that she talked to in the comic, and she talked to a little bit in the movie. And
Yep.
because the girl goes, "Oh, what's that?" And she goes, "That's a beaver."
Yeah.
And then she says something. And she goes, "What?" Like because Henry says what, and she's clearly talking to the beaver.
Yeah.
She does in the comic.
and she only has
talks
one.
back.
She only has one.
hyena,
One
yeah.
hyena. They definitely play
And she
into
names
her.
it Bruce, but I forget that their names in the comic.
Bruce Wayne. I thought it was Bruce and Wayne.
Wasn't after Bruce?
Maybe it is. I forget.
I thought it was
have to
Bruce
look.
and I thought one was Bruce and one was Wayne.
I thought it was.
That's what I thought too, but like I haven't seen everything
Yeah.
yet. I
think
just
they
know
were-
what I
I think
read.
they might have been goofy names like Cheeto or something like that. I
Maybe.
forget.
They did a really good justice to Harley. Like they really get into her, like how she's just mentally damaged.
Yeah.
Like she's talking to herself and how she plots everything. Like they did a really good. And I think Margot does a very good job of, like I think in like
The
10 years.
mannerisms.
Yeah, like I think she just she
Yeah,
doesn't.
she's a good Harley.
Yeah, I think in like when they look back in the years and they say like, oh, this person played a character, I think she'll go down. Like Gal Gadot will go down as a great Wonder Woman. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
She's the best.
yeah. Linda Carter was awesome, but you know what I mean?
She
Like,
was good for that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you put them together, I don't know. I really like
I mean,
Al.
obviously you have to recast every Wonder Woman now, but she should have been Hippolyta though. That's why I think
should have been what?
Who should
Hippolyta, her mom,
Who should have been her?
Wonder Woman,
Linda?
Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a good
Oh,
one.
that would have been fantastic.
That would have
But
been, yeah.
does anyone have anything else they want to talk about they were into, or
Well,
cut it off here?
I actually bought 2 games. Strictly Limited had Bite the Bullet, which is like a run and gun like Contra or like Metal Slug game that when you defeat your enemies, you eat them and you gain either like certain abilities like running or like defense or
And you
health
get
all.
fatter.
And you get fatter too.
Really?
Yeah.
Either fatter or buffer.
Yeah.
Did you get like
way.
a big box with it?
Well, I ordered it just recently. It was like when it first.
Oh,
when
so you're waiting for it to
was
come in.
pre-order. So Strictly Limited takes a little while for everything to come through. Then
Cool.
too. So like that's going to be an unboxing, and then I also did the Samurai Showdown collection, which a French company called Pix and Love does a shock box of everything. It includes like collector's edition. Everything shipped like $86,
Nice.
which is
Did you
nutty.
see they remastered Mafia 1, 2, and 3?
No.
I think so.
I know they're saying Metroid 1, 2, and 3. It's Metroid Prime for Switch. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll play that.
Yeah. So if you were a fan of the Mafia games, they did a completely rehaul of all three
That's
of them.
awesome.
I never played any of those.
But
And like I watched Space Force.
All of it?
Not all of it. I'm up to like the 4th episode. Kind of like some of the people I recognize in it, like John Malkovich, and then there's Jane
I
Lynch,
love John Malkovich.
Patrick Warburton, Joe Swanson, or Putty from Seinfeld. Yeah. What were some other things then too?
I heard some Office cast members make appearances later.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll have to
You would
keep
think
an
so,
eye
yeah.
out.
Probably
yeah.
Creed.
But I really,
He
but I
should
really
be in
like
it.
Carell. Carell just really brings that show up to like if it would have been anybody else, it would have been. But
I disagree. You know who else I thought would have played it? So I mean, I'm gonna say a name, and you'll just from the way he always plays, because he always kind of gets typecast into that role. The only other person besides Steve Carell that would have made that is Jason Bateman
I see
from
that.
I don't know who he is. And
And, the one with the bosses.
yeah.
Something bosses where
No,
they try
not
to
Jason.
kill their.
I'm sorry, not Jason Bateman. Fucking what's his name from?
Will Ferrell would be all right.
Will Ferrell would be
Shit,
alright.
what the fuck's his name now?
Stephen
What-
Colbert.
Yeah, he'd be
So
alright.
Yeah.
that's Jason Bateman.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
is
was
that
right
him?
then. Yeah, Jason Bateman. What
Yeah.
the hell is his show?
That one
Horrible
that's on right
Bosses?
now.
No,
Horrible
the
Bosses
movie,
is what
but
I'm
he's in a
thinking
show
of.
where he plays like that boss who tries to be stern, but he always gets shit on.
I don't
know.
I don't know that one, Tony.
Oh, he's
Pull
in
it
a
up.
lot of
It's
shows.
like it's his number one show. He was in a movie called Extract where he played a boss like that, where like he's a good guy that always kind of gets pushed over.
Yeah. I don't know. He's in a lot of
Arrested
stuff.
Development.
Arrested
Also-
Development.
Oh, I never saw that show.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
really
even thought
funny.
of that. Yeah.
Really funny.
People really gush over that. I'm like,
It's a good show.
I have to watch. See, that's the things I have to
I have
watch.
so many shows I have to watch.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it. Not Cool High School. The only thing I watched was I talked about earlier is I've been watching Comic Book Man. I've been binge watching Comic Book Man, but
Yeah,
that's
I
about
know.
it. But
You're
That
gushing
show's real
over
good.
that.
Yeah, it's
I
a
love
good
that show.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
probably
good.
watch it again. I'll probably go back and watch it all over. I love that show.
I fell off with it, but it's still good.
Yeah. All right. So, and also go check out our unboxing on Facebook. We did an unboxing for Lady Death, Andy's Kickstarter box, and we have a few more Kickstarter stuff that we're gonna talk about. Maybe that's gonna be a little segment we'll do. Maybe once a month we'll do like a Kickstarter whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Video Games Monthly box will be coming A couple days.
Yeah,
1 2
I don't
days.
know when my loot crate comes. They're just all over the place. But that'll do it for Not Cool in High School. We'll see you guys next week. We're out. See ya.
Bye.